Well, good morning, everybody. We'll get started just in a little bit. I'm behind in getting the sew-offs ready, but we will get started shortly. And we've got kind of a fun machine to check out today. I don't know how many weeks it's been since we got together as a family. I've got to come into the shot here so you can see my new sporting haircut. Maybe I'll go up a little bit here. Yeah. So yeah, I've gotten a number of notes from folks about when are we going to live stream again today. And just the other day, Teresa had reached out. Also, Alex Al Koss from California had reached out. A couple of other folks as well. And I said, I'm going to try to do it on Saturday. I don't know if I'll be ready with this machine or not. This belongs to Connie, who's local to the Twin Cities, and she brought it. We met in a parking lot. It sounds kind of creepy, doesn't it? But we met in a parking lot to check out this machine, and all the wiring on the machine was just horrible. I mean, probably the worst that I've seen. So I had to do a lot of rewiring. I didn't know if I'd be ready by today. I got done yesterday and started to do the fine adjustments, get the tension right, and also make some new discoveries about how even the slightest offset on a bobbin can throw the stitching off and create all kinds of challenges and skip stitches. So I learned some new stuff. I'll share that with you in the live stream today. So hopefully it'll benefit you if you're working with a similar machine to this one. And the title's a little bit confusing. The machine didn't actually catch fire, but it was really close. And the year of the machine is a little bit odd for a Centennial machine. If we take a look at the machine real quick, as I'm continuing to get sew-offs ready, you'll see we've got a traditional Centennial badge, right? A traditional Centennial badge. And this stuff around here, you can see, I don't know if you can see that in the shot, is actually the breakdown of the clear coat along with some varnishing kind of getting on the paint. Basically, the clear coat is gone and the varnishing sticks to the paint then, and you have to kind of use a combination of your fingernail and everything else to try to get the varnishing off. But really, the cure is to get this machine re-clear coated. And that's something that the owner doesn't want to do, and that's okay. But right away, when you look at a Centennial badge like this, you're going to assume what year as far as the birth of this machine. Centennial badge, Centennial machine. What year would you assume that the machine would come from? And hopefully my microphone is working. I can't see for sure whether or not you're able to hear me clearly. Hopefully you can. So Centennial badge, what year would this machine be from? Come on, y'all, wake up, wake up, wake up. I know we haven't done this for a while. Yeah, Susie's jumping in with 1951. Okay, good. So my voice is clear. Perfect. Yeah, Alex is right as well, 1951. And Alex is saying some were made in 1950 as well. Well, I've got, and Alex and Susie are both absolutely spot on, but I've got a surprise for you today. I was surprised, and I actually looked this machine up in the parking lot where I met Connie, expecting to find, just like Susie said, 1951, just like Alex said, okay, maybe 1950, but it's neither one of those. So do you want to look it up yourself and see what I'm talking about? I bet you do. I bet you do. Because I was just blown away. I was like, whoa, that's weird. That's really weird. Okay, let me show you. 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 Let me show you the serial number and look it up and see what you find. Also, you're going to find out that it's not a standard class 15. It's not really unusual, but I don't know that I've shown one of these on the channel before. So let's check out the serial number and see what you see. All right, I just stretched over there. Hold on a second. I almost got it. Okay, I think I've got it pretty clear there. So if hey Teresa, good, good, good. I'm glad the audio is clear. Excellent. Yeah, type in the serial number. I think Susie just got it. EF 096314, right? Look it up and see what you find. And I'm going to put on a little bit more music shortly, but I've got to get a couple more sew offs ready. I've got this much ready over here, but I've got to get a couple more things done. So, yeah, let's see what you find as far as birth date for this class 15 machine. Again, it's going to be EF, EF 096314. EF 096314. Kind of a weird birth date year for this machine being a Centennial machine. It's really weird. Just weird. Let me put this down here. That's better. Okay. So give me just a second. I'm going to get some more music set up, queued up, and I'll get the rest of the sew-offs done. You'll get reacquainted since we haven't been together for several weeks. If anyone knows how many weeks it's been since we did the last live stream, go ahead and type that in the live chat. Let's see. Tim wrote down 1953. I don't know that that's correct, Tim. Go ahead and double check it again, buddy. Go ahead and double check it again. See if you get the birth date that I did. Maybe I goofed up and got it wrong, but I think I double checked it. So I think we got a chance that it's probably right. But y'all just get acquainted, get reacquainted, relax for a little bit, and then we'll jump into this. And it looks like Susie typed something in. If somebody wants to double check Susie's date, she's got down March 4th, 1949. What? 1949? The Centennial year is 51. What? That's crazy. And it's like right at the beginning of the year, too. March is pretty early in 1949. Could that possibly be right? Could that possibly be right? Wow. Weird. Really weird. All right, let me see what I can find here real quick. Put on some other music and get us rolling here. So somebody double check Susie's date. See if that could possibly be right, please. Check that date. That seems really early for a Centennial machine, doesn't it? Seems very, very early. All right, almost got it queued up here. Let's put on some dance music. What the heck, right? Let's put on some dance music. That's crazy. Okay, I'm going to bring the music to a stop real quick here. All right, thank you for your patience as I was getting the rest of the sew offs set up. I haven't done this for several weeks, so I'm kind of out of practice. But it's great to get back into the groove of things. Late yesterday, I said to Susie, I said, "Gosh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish all the wiring on this machine because it's just absolutely awful throughout the motor and everything." I'll just show you a little example of what I was contending with. See if I can get this out of here. You're not going to be able to see it probably very clearly, but it's incredibly brittle throughout. You can get a little bit of a glimpse of it there. And the light assembly was the same way. Inside of the motor was the same way. Any rate, it was a mess. It was definitely a fire hazard. So it's great to have this machine back to a safe state again. Where Connie from Eagan, Minnesota. Yeah, Eagan, Minnesota. I had to double check. There's all kinds of E-name cities around the Twin Cities. I'm still learning them all. But yeah, she apparently had tried to plug it in, which was pretty courageous, and ran into some sparking issues or smoke issues or whatever it was. But yeah, you always when you get a new machine, you acquire it, however you acquire it, you want to be incredibly careful about checking the wiring, and not just in the obvious spots, but underneath the motor where it runs into the motor and other areas that are a little bit less conspicuous. You'll discover all of a sudden that those are the flex points of the wire, and those are probably the parts of the wire that are going to be most likely to become damaged or brittle. So really, really be careful. Okay, now into some of the things that I learned those of you that are not new to this channel know the saying already. Sometimes a teacher, always a what? Sometimes a teacher, always a what? Because that certainly proved true on this project. As I got to the final phases of getting this machine ready, I was having issues with skip stitching. See if I can show it to you on this piece of material. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, starting from over here, I'll see if I can give you a little bit of a glimpse of it, but you'll be able to see in there, I think. Let's see if I angle it like that. Yeah, let's see. Maybe I'll turn it like this as well. Right there, you can see one in particular right by my finger. Let me move this camera over just a little bit closer. Yeah, there you can see it right there. Several places along the way. That second row down, you can really see it about 4 stitches in. We've got a skip stitch, another skip stitch, skipped stitches down there. Pretty much just all over the place, right? And I had checked everything. I checked the alignment of the needle. Does anyone know on this this 15K that came out of England? Does anyone know with this 15K which way you put the flat side of the needle? Because it varies between the class 15 machines, doesn't it? You get into the Japanese machines, and the Japanese machines will show you to orientate the needle one way. You get into some of the Singer class 15s, it'll have you orientate the machine's needle another way with the flat side. So does anyone know what side the flat side goes on this 15K? Go ahead and jump in if you know. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. You'll get it. You'll get it. What way does the flat side go on this machine? All right, I'll give you a little bit more music while you're contemplating that question. Teresa's saying flat side toward the post, question mark. Does it go to the right? Shirley's asking. So Teresa's saying to the post. I think she means towards the pillar. Teresa's talking about the pillar. Does the flat side go towards the pillar? Shirley's saying the same thing. Does the flat side go to the right? It might surprise you to know that the flat side on this 15K goes to the left. It goes to the left. Now, what about the threading of the needle? We'll look a little bit at the threading. What about the threading of the needle? Do you thread this machine like most Singer machines from left to right? Do you thread this machine from right to left? What do you think? Yeah, the pillar. So what about threading the needle? Is it right? Is it left to right like most often? Or is it right to left? Is it front to back? What do you guys think? What do you think about the threading of this machine? I'll put some music on while you're getting warmed up. I know it's an early morning. I know it is. Especially if you're on the West Coast. Especially if you're on the West Coast, it's an early morning. Shirley's saying right to left. Tim is saying right to left. Teresa is saying right to left. Everyone is saying right to left. Well, all of you, Keith, Shirley, Tim, Teresa, all of you are absolutely correct when you're threading this 15K, you want to make sure, number one, that the flat side is to the left. And secondly, you want to make sure that you're threading this machine from right to left. Otherwise, you're going to experience some major challenges in trying to sew with a machine. So all of you, Keith, Shirley, Tim, and Teresa, are absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. So great job. Great, 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 great job. Let's see. Get some music on and we'll. So yes, this machine, I'm gonna rewind a little bit here. Yes, this machine is from 1949. Has anyone else ever owned or had or known of a Centennial machine that is from the year 1949? Has anyone had a machine like this? I think a number of you have had them from 1950. Some of you have, well, many of you have had them from 1951. But have any of you had them from that early, 1949 before? I'll be honest with you. I believe it's the first Centennial machine that I've had of any class that was from the model year 1949. So I think it is a little bit unusual, just a little bit. Okay, yeah, good comment by Tim. Tim's talking about the importance of threading, isn't he? He's talking about the importance of threading. You thread a machine wrong, or even if you reassemble a tension unit wrong, you can have all kinds of challenges with that thread breaking or not maintaining proper tension. So very, very critical, very, very critical that you get it right. Otherwise, you can run into some major challenges, can't you? Some major, major challenges. Answering a quick message, y'all. Just bear with me for a second. As some of you know, Susie and I have been making progress in trying to get established down in Kentucky through the purchase, if you follow us on Facebook, through the purchase of some properties and also establishing other routes down there. So it's been a back and forth process to Kentucky. So getting settled and getting your feet on the ground so that you can have a clear view of what comes next is always a challenge. Any of you that have made transitions know what I'm talking about. So I'm answering a quick question from a contractor real quick down in Kentucky, and then I'll be right back to what we're doing. Give me just a second here. Okay. So we've got a 1949 15K, class 15. Let's look at the threading real quick on this machine. See if we can get a better understanding of the threading. So coming off the top, right over here, you can see more of this clear coat breaking down here that is saturated by that varnishing. And again, the only cure for this, if you get this on one of your machines, this sort of stuff here, you can use steel wool. You can use steel wool to remove the damaged clear coat and to get the varnishing off. If you try polishes, if you try even that Z-Mall stuff, it's going to gradually start to break this stuff down, but it takes quite a while. The quickest way to have an impact on it is to get a little bit. Let me see if I can set the camera down real quick. Get a little bit of machine oil, a little bit of sewing machine oil. And we'll do it on this section right over here. Put a little bit of sewing machine oil on that varnishing where the clear coat has been basically destroyed. There's no clear coat left there. Put a little bit of oil on there. And then what you can do next is get a little bit of steel wool. This is steel wool is kind of broken down, but we'll use it anyway. Get a little bit of steel wool. And you remember how this area right here looked just like this. That over there where you've got that nasty caramelization buildup, just like up here. And just like over here. And then just real gently work that steel wool over the top of that varnishing where that clear coat is gone. You notice I'm going in one direction. Watch out for the decal in the middle. Go in one direction like this. And I'm not applying real heavy pressure. But any of you that have done any painting on cars or machines or whatever, know that once you lose the clear coat, it really is a matter of you're doing things more as a Band-Aid approach to try to make the machine look a little bit nicer, because the clear coat really defines the beauty of the machine. It gives the depth of the shine. It protects the paint and the decals as well. And when a machine like this has compromised clear coat or no clear coat in certain areas, that varnishing sticks to it like glue, right? It sticks to it just like glue, and you're down to the bare paint. And when you're down to the bare paint, you got to be even real careful when you're working with steel wool like this, gently, because you'll start to take the paint off, and then you'll be down to the base metal. You'll be all the way down to the base metal at that point. All right, so I've gotten a little bit of that off. You can see some of that old crud kind of gets stuck in the steel wool. Put a little bit more oil on there, and then we'll rub this off. And some of you might wonder, can you put, once you clean some of that varnishing off of there, where the clear coat has been compromised, are you able to put polish on the machine? The answer is no. Polish will not do any good. Polish needs that clear coat as an intermediary layer between the paint and the top surface of the machine. So we went over that with just a couple of quick strokes. If you look down here, you can see we made a nice impact on that area. We still have some of it right here, right next to the pillar. We have quite a bit of it on the pillar as well. And all we did was gently stroke in a singular direction to try to get that varnishing off of it's literally on the paint because there's no clear coat left, right? So we very gently went over it. Typically at the Singer factories, they would use a dipping process when they would have the bare machine. Some of you have seen it on the video that's on this channel. They would put it on hangers basically, and then they would submerge that machine into the bath of paint. So oftentimes I've been asked over the years, well, how many coats of paint does the average Singer sewing machine have? Does it have one? Does it have two? Does it have 10? How many coats of paint does the Singer machine have? It's really hard to say, because when you use a dipping process like Singer typically did, it really depends on how quickly that paint runs off, how much stays on the metal. But I would say on average, probably it would equate to about 3 layers of paint. So when we use that steel wool on there, we go over it gently, because steel wool is a very abrasive type tool, isn't it? If you've ever used it on anything, it can just strip things down very quickly. So we go on it real gently with that oil as a buffer, just like if we're going to clean up a cereal plate like this over here. you may have noticed it's brighter than the rest of the machine. It's because I used a little bit of oil on here, and then I used a Dremel tool. I've shown you how to do that in other live streams, I believe. You go over it very gently with a Dremel tool, but you have to put oil on there to keep that metal from getting stripped too quickly, and also from extracting the ink out that's embedded in the stamp, right? So you got to be real careful. Make sure that you treat it very gently, and then you can clean up the cereal plate using regular sewing machine oil and a Dremel type polishing brush, similar to this one right here. This is a Dremel polishing brush. It is metal, but it's a fairly soft metal. And so when you put that little bead of oil on here, you're going to come at it like this and go usually from side to side, but don't press down, because the bristles then will go into the grooves and it'll basically pull that ink out of there, which makes that was fun. I don't think I've done an air compressor explosion for a while. There you go. So yeah, you want to put it on there very gently so that you don't inadvertently. I'll actually turn this on. And we'll put a little bit of oil on there. We'll do just a little bit more polishing on it. Put a little bit of oil on there, and not heavy, just a little bead of oil down there like that. You see it kind of running off a little bit there. And yes, you can use sewing machine oil. Crystal white would be the best. You can also use kerosene as well. And then you get your brush going. Go on a slow speed. I've got it set all the way down on 1, if you can see that. And then just very gently, and watch your paint along the edges. Barely touch it. Just kind of go over it like this. And again, I'm not putting any downward pressure. If you put any downward pressure, those bristles are going to work their way into those grooves where that paint is, and then it's going to steal that black paint away. So it'll be more difficult to read that serial number. Very gentle. Yeah, and I'm doing this more for demonstration, because I've already worked over it quite a bit to try to clean that serial number plate up. And if you're curious how they did these plates, that's also in the video that's on this channel, the Singer Factory in Kilbowie, Scotland. You'll see that they had a very special machine that had basically a series of mallets, and the mallets would strike the metal and then would create that plate on there, the number sequence, etc. You just wipe it off with a rag, and then it'll be much easier, I think, to read it that way, isn't it? Just like when I showed you initially. And you notice we preserved the inking in the stamp portion, so the numbers are a little bit easier to read, right? I've shown you in other videos too how you can ink these if you ever go too deep with a brush, and you end up stripping the ink out of there, out of the serial plate area. I've shown you how you can use some black enamel paint with a dental tool similar to this, and you basically just dip it into that paint very slowly, and then you work it into those grooves to re-ink the serial plate if you end up stripping it out somehow inadvertently. So it's not too hard to do. It's very tedious work when you do that sort of thing, right? Very tedious work. Let's see here. We haven't gotten together for a while, so if we've got some new folks, I'll talk a little bit about the bobbin winding on this machine as well. Also, let me tell you, on cleaning up this particular badge, unlike the other Singer badges, that are strictly brass. They're strictly a brass type material, and you can use a similar polishing brush like I just showed you that we used on the serial number here to brighten up most of the Singer badges very, very nicely. Again, you put a little bit of an oil on there to create a little bit of a protection. It kind of lowers the temperature as that brush is spinning on the branding plate on the machine. But you cannot do that. Do not use a brush like this. Do not use a brush like this to try to clean up your Centennial badge. Never, ever, 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 ever use a Dremel type tool on a Centennial badge. You might be saying to yourself, why? Why can't we use a Dremel tool to polish this just like we would any other badge mark? Does anyone know? I've shared this in other live streams. Does anyone know why we can't use a Dremel type brush like this on this Centennial badge? Anyone at all? Does anyone know? I'll move the camera over here for a little bit. Actually, I'll move it all the way over here. Why can't we use a Dremel brush on a Centennial badge? The enamel paint is too thin on the badge. Teresa is on the right track. Teresa is absolutely on the right track. It's even a little bit more complicated than that. As you look at this badge mark, you'll see that unlike the other badge marks on most Singer machines, which is going to be a brass color all throughout, right? Some of them will have a little bit of black stamping incorporated into them. Some of the 301s from the grand introduction year had black stamping as part of the badge mark. But this particular badge mark, when Singer created this badge mark, they did it in 4 layers. There's actually 4 layers on this badge mark. There's the original brass, then there's a layer of clear coat, then there's a layer of blue paint with stamping and numbers, etc. And then there's an additional clear coat layer on top of all of that. So it's a sandwich of layers. It's a sandwich of layers. And I still remember the call I got one time from someone that had watched one of the live streams, and I was polishing not a Centennial badge, but I was polishing a regular Singer badge, and really brought it back to a gorgeous luster, just a beautiful, beautiful badge on the front of the machine. And they said, I wanted to polish up my Centennial badge, and now all it is bare metal, and all I can see is the centerpiece with a little bit of the stamping, but all the rest of it is gone. And that's because a lot of the stamping you see here is not stamping at all. It's actually painted and it's infused on the badge mark. So if you take a Dremel to this, you'll lose a lot of the outer ring and you'll lose some of the inner ring as well, and you'll have a nasty looking badge. So what I suggested to the person that called me, I think they were calling from Colorado, is I said, there's no way realistically to repair it. You're going to have to get another Centennial machine, or see if you can find someone that is just selling the Centennial badge. And then you can pop these 2 little rivets out, and then you can reattach a brand new Centennial badge to the machine. So pass the word, would you? Please pass the word. If anyone has seen us polishing one of these badges on another Singer machine, this badge is very unique. And you can't use anything that's going to generate friction against it, or you'll lose all of this out here. And you're going to have a real nasty looking badge. So the obvious question you have then is, okay, what do we do? How do we clean it up? What's a safe way to clean the badge up, recognizing that it's 4 layers? It's a sandwich of layers, and we got to be real careful with it. Let me try to show you briefly what I would recommend. See if I can show you briefly what I would recommend. First of all, the safe bet whenever you're cleaning up a sewing machine, the safe bet with most any sewing machine, I've got this in a base because the class 15s, they don't sit level. So I've got to have it in this base to operate the machine. Otherwise, the bottom of the pitman arm will be hitting the table and it'll create all kinds of problems for us. So let me see if I can slide it back just a little bit without knocking the camera off, hopefully. See if we can get a little bit closer to the badge mark. And I'll give you just a very, very brief tutorial on cleaning up the badge, which I've already done quite a bit on this. You can see that. So you can use a couple of different things. Q-tips are a safe bet, along with sewing machine oil and or kerosene. So you'll just take, let's see if I can angle this a little bit more down. You'll take your sewing machine oil or your kerosene, drip it on the end of your Q-tip swab. We're not done yet. Then you're going to grab a little bit of your favorite type of car polish. The polish that I have within reach right now is this stuff right here. It's called what is it? Carnauba wax or something like that, by this company here. They've been in the business quite long, 1901, I believe. They've been in the business since 1901, so they provide a pretty good product. And then what I generally do is I grab one of my little cosmetic pads and I go back a little bit here. There's just no good angle. I put a little bit of this, and yes, you can shake it up a little bit. That's always a good idea with wax. Give it a little bit of a shake. And then I'll put a little bit on this cosmetic pad. And you remember, we already have oil on this cosmetic, on this Q-tip, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to dip our Q-tip lightly in this wax, like so. So we've got a combination of sewing machine oil, and we have some of this car wax. And there's so many car waxes out there, it's kind of hard, isn't it? It's hard to pick the right one. Zeamol, some people love that one. But I would just say like this, and go in a circular motion with, I would say, light to medium pressure. Oh, look at that. Apparently it was too heavy. You see already we've gotten some of that stuff off. Let me try this again. These are Dollar Tree Q-tips, so they're probably not top shelf, if you know what I mean. All right, see if I can keep it on there this time. So I'm just going in a circular motion, and go one way counterclockwise, go the other way clockwise. Almost like when you're professionally polishing a car. They've got these waxing machines that will go one way and then they reverse, right? Any of you that have ever been around a detailing shop, you'll see what I mean. They've got them so that they kind of float gently over the clear coat, and they reverse at certain stages in the polishing process. Okay, so we're kind of working that in a little bit. Light to medium pressure. If you're working with Dollar Tree Q-tips, probably on the lighter side. Oh, goodness. Yeah, you can just go for a little bit at it, sing happy birthday or hum a show tune, and then, yeah, you can see some of the extra varnishing and buildup that we've gotten off of that badge mark off of the clear coat level. And let's take a Q-tip swab, or excuse me, take a Q-tip ball now, and you're going to do the same thing now. You're going to gently go over that badge mark, rotate it one way, go another way, rotate it another way, go another way, rotate it another way, go another way, and, moderate pressure on the badge mark. See all that stuff that's embedded in the clear coat, which steals away the beauty of the badge mark. No, we haven't spent much time on this, right? Just a brief amount of time. And already from where we started when you first saw the badge mark, and I was talking about the uniqueness of this model coming from 1949 versus 1950 or 1951. So this machine is a little bit older in the Centennial series. Probably one of the very first ones that they did, coming out in 1949. But already we've added quite a bit additional beauty and luster. I hold the camera real still. And you can see now, let me move the stitch length up a little bit. You can now see the clarity of the wording and the lettering. See how much cleaner that is? How much more beautiful it is? From where we started just a few minutes ago. And again, you want to be gentle because, you know, it has clear coat over the painted portions of the badge mark. But, you know, clear coat is only so thick as well. I think I told you in one live stream, clear coat is typically going to be about 1/10 of the thickness of a piece of paper. About 1/10 of the thickness of a piece of paper. So when you're going over it with a Q-tip in that, you want to be fairly gentle, but you can see now we've got a lot of that beauty back, and it kind of puts to shame this area around here where that clear coat has failed and the varnishing has embedded itself in that clear coat. Now you've got a much more beautiful badge mark on the front of this 1949 Centennial machine. Okay, so I've talked enough about the machine. We'll look quickly at the threading of the machine, and then let's actually sew with this machine before I run out of airtime or something. You never know, right? So off the top here, where you can see this spool of dual duty XP thread that I got at Joann's in quantity when they had the President's sale, I think it was. We come off of here, we go through this little guide right over here on the back. We then come around the back of the tension discs right there. You kind of come like this around the back of the tension discs, draw it into those tension discs. Then you're going to come over the top of this little thread guide right there. You can see how the thread is over the top, right? And then after you come over the top of that thread guide, you're then going to come through the take-up spring and then up to the take-up arm, and you'll thread that from left to right. From left to right. You then come down to this thread guide here on the faceplate area. And yes, I did polish up the faceplate as well, using a similar approach to what I just showed you on that Centennial badge mark. You can take a little bit of polish and some sewing machine oil, and you can work over the plate. If you're a little bit more impatient, if you're a little bit more impatient, and you want to take off the upper tension so that you don't bend that spring, then you can also go over the plate with some sewing machine oil and some steel wool. Steel wool with some sewing machine oil, gentle strokes across here will also brighten up the appearance of that very nicely as well. But remember, this finish on here is also about as thin as a clear coat finish. So you don't want to go over it too abrasively, or you'll end up having what looks like a copper showing through. And the copper is, in fact, a copper finish base plate that's underneath this chromium finish, right? So you don't want to go too abrasive on this chromium either. Otherwise, you'll end up having little flecks of a copper type color flashing through that looks really nasty. So treat it with some gentleness as well, right? Okay, so down here we come through this thread guide. Then we have another thread guide on the right side of the needle, right about there. Kind of bring the thread in from the side. And then, like we already talked about, you're then going to thread the needle from right to left, right? From right to left. And the flat side is going to go on what side again? What side is flat side of the needle? What side is the flat side of the needle when you insert it on this 15K? We talked about it earlier in the live stream. So you'll thread the needle from right to left, and then what side is the flat side? What side is the flat side in this 15K? What side? Come on, y'all, wake up, wake up, wake up. Oh, Jenny. Hey, Jenny. Oh, Jenny had eye surgery. Okay. Yeah, great to have you here, Jenny. Quick healing, kiddo. Quick healing on your eyes. That's such a critical part of our faculties, isn't it? Having proper vision. And as we get older, we sometimes face eye issues like cataract and that. So, yeah, I mean, we got to take care of ourselves, don't we? We've got to take care of ourselves. Um, so the flat side goes to the left. No one responded, so I'm just going to tell you, make sure when you put the needle in on this 12K that the flat side goes to the left, okay? All right. What other tips can I give you? Tips, tips, tips. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. All right, let me get our stitch length set back to long, and we'll finally do our first sew off, okay? We'll finally do our first sew off, and you can give a listen. Oh, I didn't talk about something else. One other tip for you all, okay? We'll set it right about there. So when I got this machine, if you look at these two bobbins side by side, these bobbins are going to look fairly similar. They're going to look fairly similar, apart from this one having a lot of holes in it, obviously, which is a classic class 15 style, right? And that was Susie's notification. Let me see. Susie's trying to bring my attention to something here. Hold on just a second. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Susie was alerting me to the fact that across the street there's a large vehicle that's going to be picking up some materials that were being used to work on a home, and it might get loud, but I think we'll be okay. But I appreciate the tip. Also, Susie wanted to remind me, and I should do it now before I do forget, and that is Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there and the future moms. And I always say, motherhood is not delivering a baby. Motherhood is the heart of the mom, and how she, just carries that love to that child. And it might not even be her child. It might be a neighborhood child that has an absent father, or a mom that works all the time, and you become kind of a surrogate mom, don't you, to that child next door, or maybe a niece or nephew, where the parents, for whatever reason, are not available to give that mothering touch that is so critical to the child growing up and becoming a healthy, happy adult. So motherhood, in my mind, has a lot of different forms. It's certainly the mom that delivered the baby, but it's also others that take on the role of being a mom when there's an absent mom, or maybe the mom sadly has passed away early, and there's a dad trying to raise a daughter. And dads can be great with their daughters, but there's certain things that ladies can communicate to a girl in a way that it resonates, where it may not resonate in the same way coming from the dad, or from a man for that matter. So thank God for moms and all that they do to raise up kids, and to give them the foundations that they need. So long and short and long, happy Mother's Day to all of you, whatever form of mom you are. And what a critical, blessed, sacred role motherhood is, right? Yeah, definitely. Okay, so back to these bobbins. I got this machine from Connie, who's from Eagan, Minnesota. And if anyone for fun wants to look up Eagan, if anyone wants to look up Eagan and tell us some fun facts about that community in Minnesota, go for it. I think it'd be totally cool. Google Eagan, Minnesota. It's Susie, how do you spell Eagan in the chat, would you? I think it's Eagan or something like that. Is it? Eagan. If anyone wants to type anything interesting about Eagan, Minnesota, so that we can learn more about that community that Connie comes from, where this machine comes from, that would be totally cool. But my point is, as you look at bobbins, sometimes they can look really, really similar, right? They can look really similar. But you can see as these are sitting on the same surface, this bobbin that the machine came with is a little bit taller, because you can see that the edge can actually overlap this class 15 bobbin. See where it's overlapping it right there? So we know that in all likelihood, it's going to be just a little bit taller than the class 15 bobbin, which is the bobbin that should be in this 15K machine, right? It should be in this 15K machine, but it wasn't. And after I did all the other work on this machine and I made all the proper adjustments with the the oscillating hook timing and everything. Yes, this machine has an oscillating hook instead of a rotary hook. And if anyone wants to share with the class, what's the difference between an oscillating hook system and a rotary hook system? Are they different? Are they the same? How do they function? How would you describe them? You're going to get some extra brownie points from me if you jump into the chat and you share, okay, this one that we're looking at today has an oscillating hook system. It doesn't have a shuttle system. It doesn't have a long beak shuttle system. It's got an oscillating hook system, not a rotary hook system. What does that mean? How does it function? How would you describe it? Because that's important to know, isn't it? But I got done with all the adjustments on this machine, right? Got done with all the adjustments on this machine, and I was still having trouble with some stitches skipping. I was having some more on this end right here. I was having issues. You can see it in the shot there. Skip stitches in the first row on the far left. Skip stitches on the second row several times. And I'm thinking, what's going on? Because I was I'm getting back into my groove after getting back from Kentucky. And, I didn't look at the basic thing of, I know we've got the needle flat side facing to the left. I know that we got a 15x1 needle. I know that we've got the machine threaded properly up here. The machine is threaded properly, but we're still getting skip stitches. And then I looked a little bit more closely at this bobbin that closely resembles a class 15 bobbin. And I started doing some caliper measurements on it. And what I found, as you look at these two bobbins, I found out that this one right here that was in the machine is actually 20.5 millimeters tall, whereas a class 15 bobbin is only 20 millimeters tall. So this bobbin was taller, which means it pushed it out a little bit in the bobbin case when the machine was trying to operate, right? It was too tall, so it was sticking out of the bobbin case only about a half a millimeter, but it was enough, along with the other things I'll share with you, to throw off how the bobbin was interacting in the sewing process, right? So the bobbin is too tall to be a legitimate class 15. It's 20.5 millimeters, and it should be 20 millimeters. It's also too wide as far as from here to here. From here to here, it's too wide, or some might say it's too tall. This one is 12 millimeters. The class 15 bobbin is only 11.5. So we're only looking at both measurement areas approximately 0.5 millimeter difference in the width and the height of these two bobbins. But believe me, it will throw the timing and the flow of the machine off, so that all of a sudden you'll start having skip stitches. You'll wonder, do I have a bad needle? No, you don't. You'll wonder, do I need to turn the flat side to the right side? Definitely don't do that. Don't do that. Keep the flat side to the left on this 15K. And if you've got a Schmetz needle in there like I do today, you can be pretty assured, unless you hit something, it's going to be rock solid. It's not a needle problem, it's a bobbin problem. Okay. This bobbin is too wide, it's too tall, and it doesn't work well in the bobbin case with this oscillating hook system. Remember the oscillating hook system, like Teresa just explained, and Susie is also providing more explanation, right? She's providing more explanation. You're only looking at a very, very quick rocking motion of the hook system in an oscillating hook system. So it really is critical that everything is functioning as it should. Otherwise, if this is pushing the thread out too far, or because it's too long, it's causing a binding or the flow of the thread, it can create a lot of problems, and it definitely did. At any rate, I wanted to highlight that for you. The last thing is the inner diameter as well. As you look at the inner diameter of these, you're going to see that the inner diameter is going to be a little bit larger on the class 15 bobbin. That's the hole in the middle, right? And that's essential as far as how it turns in the bobbin case. It's also essential if you're trying to mount it on the machine to wind a bobbin. If you try to mount a bobbin like this on there, where it's only 7 millimeters in diameter, that little hole in the middle, you're going to have trouble fitting it on there and getting it to wind properly. The class 15 is going to have an opening right there of 8 millimeters, and it's going to allow easy mounting to the machine for winding a bobbin. It's also going to turn more freely in the bobbin case, and so you're going to get a much better even flow of thread out of the bobbin case in the sewing process. You can literally see the difference in the size of the inner diameter, that hole, when you look at them like this, can't you? So when you look at a bobbin with a quick glance, sometimes they look really similar, and they might even fit in your bobbin case, very easily, but they won't turn easily and they won't turn properly. So stick with class 15s on this 15K. Don't use one like this that looks like it might work, but it's going to create headaches for you, okay? And I don't know if anybody captured the numbers, but I'll show you the numbers if anyone wants to type them into the live chat as a record. These are the measurements here. The original is going to be the bobbin that this machine came with. The class 15 is going to be identified just next to it. But measurements, when you're talking about a sewing machine, a 0.5 millimeter, which is very, very small, can make a huge difference on a sewing machine, right? So those are the measurements, if that's helpful to any of you out there. Hopefully it is. Okay, let's see here. Let me move these sew-offs out of the way a little bit. And just jump into some sew-offs on this machine. This machine is powered by a 0.54 amp motor, rear-mounted. So it's not like the 1591 that has that potted motor with the direct drive. This is driven by a belt. And I also changed the belt on this machine as well when I got it, because the belt that was on there was one of those stretch belts. And stretch belts, again, can create a lot of stress on the motor. It creates a lot of extra drag, causes the motor to run hot, even overheat. So I have a V-style belt on this machine now, which gives us really good traction, really good traction, and it gives us much more even distribution of the power as well. Okay, so we're going to sew off on some 100% cotton to start out. Let me get a little bit closer. 100% cotton, and I've got a little bit of a stiffener, really thin stiffener in between there, if you can see that in the shot. And we'll buzz down. We'll lay down some stitching on this. We'll lay down a larger stitch, and then we'll lay down a smaller stitch, and then we'll jump into some of these other materials that we have. And if anyone has any questions, you can either type them in the live chat, or you can, by all means, text me during the live stream, and I'll go ahead, or you can call me if you want, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about how this 12K is different from some of the other class 15 machines that Singer and others made, right? Okay. So, like always, I say this all the time, and I probably drive all of you crazy. But when you launch, make sure your take up arm right there is at the highest position and it's just getting ready to downstroke. See that? It's just getting ready to go on a downstroke, especially on an oscillating hook machine like this 15K. You want to make sure you do that because this tends to pull the thread aggressively when you launch. And if you have this in the wrong position, it's going to create a bird nest disaster on the bottom of your material. Okay. All right. Let me get this caliper out of the way. And we'll see if we can get our first sew off done finally after I've been blah, blah, blahing for an hour and 15 minutes. Good gravy. But, I think all the stuff that I covered is hopefully going to be helpful to you and to also others that watch this as a video afterwards. Okay, so let's get into this. And yes, you can hold these threads when you launch. You can hold these threads, and that way they don't potentially get caught by the needle and create a little loopy doopy underneath there. But when the machine is tuned well and the feed dogs have good grip and you've got adequate presser foot pressure, we should be okay. So I'm going to try it without holding the threads. If we get a little loopy doopy on the bottom, then I'll hold the threads in the future. All right, so let's give this a go and listen to this machine run. It came here with disastrous wiring. It had a number of other issues. As you can tell from the outside, from all the caramelization, it had a lot of buildup of varnishing and crud throughout the entire machine that I had to work and clean off. So it's running and turning so smoothly now. It's just really a delight. So, all right, here we go. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. First sew off, finally. All right, and I had that speed turned way down. Had that speed turned way, way, way down. And you'll want to, because we thread from right to left, you'll want to kind of pull the thread when you're advancing it, kind of pull it to the left a little bit. That way you're not flexing the needle in the wrong way, if that makes sense. Give us a little clip, and we'll take a look at these stitches and see if we need to make any adjustments. See if we need to make any adjustments as far as tension. All right, let me give that a clip there. We'll take a look at this, and then we'll kind of jump into some of these other sew-offs as well. All right, let's get over there. Let the camera focus. Yeah, I'll go across like this. We'll look at that top stitch first. Hold on real quick. Give us a try again. There we go. Now we're in focus. Sort of, kind of. Go across like this. We'll look at that stitching. Camera hasn't worked for several weeks, so it may be fickle with us. All right, going out of focus a little bit. Let me try it like this. Maybe it'll like this better. And what I'm seeing as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing that, and this is a real thin sew-off, obviously, but I'm seeing that we're lacking a little bit on the bobbin pull, aren't we? See, we've got a decent looking stitch if you look at it like this, but that knot is a little bit too high right now as we're sewing this 2 layers of 100% cotton with this stiffener in there. So we have 2 choices. We can either bump up the bobbin case a little bit, or we can adjust the upper tension down just a little bit. I think it'll probably be easier to adjust the upper tension down just a little bit. All in all, a pretty decent stitch, but we can make it better, right? We'll turn it over, look at the lock stitch before we make that adjustment first. Getting a little bit closer, see if the camera will cooperate more on the back side. Go across kind of slow here. Yeah, the camera's been on vacation, so hopefully we get some cooperation from the camera today. I hope we do. Yeah, so all in all, I think some decent looking stitching. We'll kind of look at it like this as well. A little bit harder to see it there. And sometimes you have to adjust both, don't you? There's our top stitch. There's our lock stitching. Feel like I'm an optometrist. Top stitching. Is number one better or number two? Number one or number two? Yeah. Anyway, you get the idea. So we'll make a little bit of an adjustment on this. I'll back off the upper tension just slightly. So we'll go over to our upper tension right here. You can see right now we're set on right around 5, just a little bit shy of 5. So I'm going to turn this back just a tiny little bit. Go to right around 4.5 in that region there. And remember, when you're setting one of these tensions up after you cleaned it, this little inner dial here where you can see the numbers, as you're reassembling this, you have to press this down where the numbers are, that little disc. You have to press that down against the spring so you can turn this, right? Well, when you press this down, depending on how far you press this down and how many times you turn this before it locks into place with that little pin, will determine how much pre-tension you have, right? I've talked about that a lot. When you're putting upper tensions together, you've got to take into account the pre-tension. Pre-tension means that the numbers will normally equate to how much pressure you have. But if you end up pushing this disc down and turning this more rotations before you lock it into place, the 4 might be equivalent to a 6, or the 3 might be equivalent to a 5. And if that doesn't make sense, I'll try to explain it in a different way, but just realize that when you're putting tensions together, you take them apart, you clean them, you do the right thing as a sewing machine owner. Just take into account as you're reassembling it, how much pre-tension you're setting by pressing that disc down and turning this before it clicks into place. That'll determine how far you have to adjust this. If I didn't set more pre-tension, I might have to be up on, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 to get the same result. So, all right. So we adjusted that down a little bit. We're going to do one more sew off, and we'll see if we had any kind of a significant impact on it. There you can see our top stitching right there. It really looks quite nice. It's quite nice. But when we scrutinize things, we can always make it better, right? We can always make it better. So we can look at that stitching and go, that's really pretty nice looking stitching. And it is. But we just tweak that upper tension a little bit. We'll see if we can make it even better now. So get your take-up arm all the way up. Notice where our take-up arm is right now. It's all the way in the down position. We want to hold that thread in the back and rotate that up. So we're getting a proper launch. Up a little bit further, and there's our downstroke. See that? Whenever possible, that's how you want to launch. Whenever possible, you want to try to launch that way. Okay? Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. It is a silly camera, but it's been on vacation, right? You know how when you've been on vacation and then you come back to work, it takes you a while sometimes. It takes most people a while to kind of ramp up and get back into the rhythm of work. I'm making excuses for the camera, but yeah. And even as I was setting up the live stream today, I couldn't get the microphone to come on. I couldn't get, it was just a technical nightmare, like 20, 25 minutes before the live stream was set to start. So I was like, oh my gosh. So, all right, let's try this one as well. Give a listen to the machine. A lot of people say that the oscillating hook, the pendulum hook style that the Class 15s have typically is louder. It's louder than a rotary hook system. A lot of people say the rotary is quieter. Listen to this and see if you agree as we start up on our second stitch line here. All right, here we go. I think it's pretty quiet myself, but maybe you're picking up something different from the microphone over there. It's really a high-tech microphone, so maybe you're hearing something different, right? Maybe not. Yeah, a little bit better clarity on that top stitch. Hopefully we didn't lose the lock stitch on the bottom. We're going to try a little stitch adjustment. We'll shorten that stitch up and try the same stitching, see what we think of that. So we kind of look at these two rows. I kind of show it from this angle because the camera seems to like this angle for whatever reason. We got two good-looking rows or columns of straight stitching. Again, we have it set on the longest stitch right now. So it's going to be right around 6 to 7 stitches per inch. Nice stitch formation, stitch definition. The clarity of the stitch is nice. I like it. Looks good. Actually, back the camera up. It might make it easier to see it. Yeah, some good-looking stitching. But I do think if you look at it closely, the second column here to the right is just a little bit better. You notice how it pulled that knot down a little bit further because we backed off the upper tension, which allowed that bobbin case to pull down with a little bit more force, right? All of you that are veterans in the classroom, you know how to explain adjusting tension. There are experienced sewists that have been sewing for 30, 40 years that still do not totally understand how the tension works, right? So if anyone wants to share in the live chat, I'll turn it over, look at that lock stitch as well. This is our lock stitch now. And it looks like our adjustment really didn't take anything away from the lock stitch. We still have a nicely, there goes the camera again, it's on vacation. We still have a nicely defined lock stitch, but we also sharpened up that top stitch just a little bit more in that second column there. If you look at it like this, that knot was pulled down just a little bit further, just a little bit further. So all in all, some really good looking stitching, top stitching, and also the lock stitching as well. So I think our 15K is off to a good start. Now we're going to shorten that stitch up quite a bit. And again, if anyone wants to try to share their knowledge, because again, we're fellow teachers, we're fellow students in this classroom, right? If anyone wants to share their knowledge on how to explain to someone that's just starting out sewing and they're having trouble with adjusting tension, let's say that this stitch doesn't look as good as it does in the shot right now. That's both of those columns are good looking top stitches. They really are. They're quite nice looking. Well, let's say theirs is loosey-goosey, or let's say it's overly tight where that bobbin case is pulling down too hard and it's actually shortening the stitch like I've shown you in other live streams. How do you explain to them to adjust the tension or explain the concept of adjusting tension on any sewing machine so that they get it, so that they grasp how to adjust it? Because a lot of people right away, if they're having issues with the bottom of the material and that lock stitch isn't good looking like ours is, they're going to assume right away it's a problem with the bobbin case because proximity, right? The bobbin case is here. The problem I'm having is on the bottom. It must be a problem with the bobbin case. And yet any of you that are veterans in the classroom know that it's actually the opposite, isn't it? It's the opposite. If we're having issues with the bottom of the material, it's an issue of the upper tension, isn't it? So if anyone wants to type an explanation in the live chat, that would be totally cool. And you'll get brownie points for it too, won't you? You'll get brownie points. All right. So let me shorten the stitch a little bit now. We'll do another stitch row. And I didn't specifically walk you around this machine, but we looked a lot at the Centennial badge mark. So this is our stitch length, isn't it? This is our stitch length right here. If we're all the way at the bottom, we're going to get the longest stitch, which is going to be right around 6 to 7 stitches per inch. If we start to push it up, the stitch gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter until we're right around 30 stitches per inch, right there at that demarcation line, as I call it. If we go above that, we're going to start sewing in reverse, aren't we? We're going to start sewing in reverse. And if we push it all the way up, we're going to get the longest stitch, and it's going to be sewing in reverse, right? It'd be something to test, wouldn't it? See if we can get stitch regularity. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't with these reverse sewing machines, especially when they were earlier on. But we're going to go a little bit shorter. We're going to go right around 8 to 10 stitches per inch, probably right about there. We'll stitch another row and we'll see what we get, right? See what we get with this. Get our take-up arm just a little bit higher up so we get a nice clean launch. There we go. And now we'll do our next column of stitching here. Once the camera says, yep, I'm back, I'm on duty. All right. But first of all, I'm going to get a quick drink of Diet Coke because I've been blah, blah, blahing quite a bit, haven't I? I've been a blah, blah, blah monster. Good gravy. All right. Let's do this next column of stitching and see what we think of this. A much shorter stitch, and we'll see what the clarity of the stitch is on this as far as that stitch definition. All right, here we go. That's a ridiculously quiet oscillating hook system, in my opinion. Very, very quiet. Yeah, let's take an initial look at that. Yeah, very, very nice. Very, very nice. And that's probably about 8 to 10 stitches per inch, something like that. You look at those other stitch rows again, quite lovely. Very, very nice stitching. And sometimes with certain machines, depending on the thread that you're using, you'll actually find that it's more difficult to maintain clarity of stitch when you get smaller instead of longer. And that's because on an oscillating hook system, it only has a very, very slight, modest range of motion to generate that stitch. So sometimes it has to move more rapidly to generate these many stitches in that amount of space. And so sometimes tension can be an issue. Don't be surprised if it happens. But in this case, I think we did really, really well. And we maintained quite a lovely stitch, 8 to 10 stitches per inch. Really quite nice. Let's turn it over and look at the lock stitching, see if we maintained it there as well. And it looks like we did. Maybe a little bit light on the side. And you'll find that sometimes when you go shorter, you might need a little bit more upper tension to maintain that lock stitch when you go shorter than if you go longer. Yeah, but it looks really quite nice. Really quite nice. All right, let's go even shorter now. And then we'll jump into some of these other materials. But I like using cotton because cotton is very common among sewists, isn't it? Most sewists, at one point or a time, they're going to be using cotton to sew on. So it's good to show the results of that with this 15K. All right, so now we're going to go even shorter. Let me get that thread back, get this into place. So here we're around 6 to 7. What? Where am I? Haha. There, I almost got it. All right. So here we're around 6 to 7 stitches per inch on these two columns here. Right here, we're probably much closer to about 8 to 10 stitches per inch. Now we're going to bring it down even further. We're going to go down to about 20 stitches per inch, and let's see what we think of that. All right, here we go. Probably close to 20 stitches per inch. And you notice that on Connie's machine, I have not had to hold that thread like on some of the Japanese oscillating hooks that pull it much more aggressively than this one. We've been okay, so we're going to keep flying the way we are. All right, so here we go, about 20 stitches per inch on 2 layers of cotton with a real light stiffener. Here we go. Yeah, that's quite lovely too. I like this. Give that a little bit of a pull. We'll take a look at this one right away. The top stitching. You can see that stitch line getting shorter and shorter and shorter as we go across. Move my finger out of the way. Yeah, some really, really good looking stitching. Very, very nice. We'll give it a turnover and look at that lock stitch, see if we maintain stitch integrity there. And it looks like we did. Some really, really good looking stitching on there as well. I'm trying to angle the camera right here. Yeah, right about there seems to be the happy distance for the camera. Yeah, very, very nice. So we started with the basics, don't we? We start with the basics. We're dealing with some 100% cotton. Now we're going to move into some of these other trickier materials and see if we continue to maintain success. We only had to make one very subtle tension adjustment on the upper tension when we weren't getting quite enough clarity from that top stitch. But since then, we've just been flying through these and getting some really spectacular results, both on the top stitching and also on the lock stitching as well. Kind of fold that back a little bit like that. So I'm going to throw this to the side for right now. We might come back to it again. But what a difference from where we started as I was zeroing this machine in on this 100% cotton with also a stiffener. And we were having all kinds of clarity of stitch issues. We were having skip stitches because of that bobbin that I talked to you about earlier in the live streams. And yeah, I mean, little things make a big difference, right? Little things make a big difference. All right, let's move into something a little bit heavier now. Let's move into some denim. Denim is also a very popular material for most sewists. I'm going to take care of our take-up arm right away, which is down, down, down. Get that ready and then right position so we're ready to go. There we go. So how many layers of denim should we do? How many layers of denim do you think we should do? We've got this heavy grade denim. It's not that stretchy stuff that I absolutely detest. You know, this is some strong, heavy denim that Susie and I picked up at one of the local thrift shops. I think it was a large pair of women's pants, or may have been men's pants, and we just cut it down into these strips, which works nicely. So right now we've got 2 layers. Do we fold it in half and go with 4 layers? Do we fold it in sections and go up to 6 layers? What do you think? What do y'all think? Go ahead and jump in if you got an opinion as far as what we should do on this next denim sew-off. I want to try to involve all of you. And this is one of our first live streams in several weeks. So I want you to feel like you're a part of it. So Teresa is saying 4 layers. Susie is saying 6 layers. Shirley is saying 4 layers. I thought one of you would be a renegade rebel and say, Scott, here, let me come in the shot. There I am. I think I am. Scott, why are you talking about 4 layers or 6 layers? Maybe we should do 8 layers. Wouldn't that be crazy? As like a coming home thing after being off the air for so long. So maybe we'll do 4 layers and then we'll fold it in a way that gives us 6 layers. And then if we have enough room, we'll fold it one more time and give us 8 layers, just to say we did it, right? Just to say we did it. So we'll start with 4 layers, as Shirley and Tim and Teresa had suggested. So we're just going to fold it like right here. Boom, we're done. Get up to 4 layers of denim. And I should say heavy grade denim because this denim is heavier grade than a lot of the denims out there. Some of them, they really make them chintzy and cheap now, don't they? All right, let's try to get this into place. Get that needle all the way up so that we're not catching that needle and bending the needle. Now we're doing 4 layers of denim. So I'm thinking we should probably make an adjustment on our presser foot pressure, right? You can see we're not down very far right now. We give it like 3 turns or 4 turns. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hopefully that's enough to handle these 4 layers of denim. We'll see. We will see, right? We will see. We will see. All right. So 4 layers of denim. Let's try to get this done. And you've had a chance to hear this machine run several times. I'll do one stitch line without any music, and then I'm going nuts. I've got to put a little bit of music on just as background sound for me. So we'll go down this. We'll do the 4 layers, and then we'll put on a little bit of music as background. I'll put it on soft. I won't crank it up, I promise. All right. I think on this one, I will hold the thread a little bit, and we'll launch into this. And we'll see how the wiring has given this machine renewed power. And Wayne is absolutely correct. Wayne just typed in 1949. And this machine was, I believe Susie had gotten it first, maybe. This machine was born on March 4th, 1949. And it was from a very large production group size, 100,000 machines. That's one of the bigger production group sizes that Singer did. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Wayne, 1949. All right, here we go. Let's give this a go. All right. Got through it with no trouble at all. Take a look at the stitching now. See how we did. Let go, let go. All right, get our thread back. Yeah, very, very nice. Let's take a look at these like this first. So I get the camera. It seems to like aiming down more for some reason. So our top stitching looks really, really quite nice. Let me make sure I did this right. No, I've got it backwards. Yeah, because I would have folded it like that. Okay. It's reverse day. This is the top stitching. This is the top stitching. Let's take a look at this first. Really quite nice, these 4 layers. Good stitch definition, good clarity of stitch. We'll try to go sideways as well. We'll get a little bit closer to the camera. Hopefully it will be nice to us. Yeah, very, very nice. Very, very, very nice. Yeah, I like it. So a very nice stitch line with our top stitching here. We'll kind of look at it in totality. I'll come out on the shot a little bit. See if the camera will let me do that. Very nice stitching. 4 layers of heavy grade denim. 4 layers of heavy grade denim. I'm going to turn it over and look at that lock stitching now. This is our lock stitching on the back. We'll look at it in the same way like this first. See if we can go up and take a look at that like this. Yeah, real nice. We'll look at it sideways as well. This again is our lock stitching. It's our stitching on the bottom of the material. Beautiful, beautiful clarity of stitch, the spacing, the formation. I would give it a solid page 34. And if you're new to us, page 34 means near perfect. I always argue that there's no such thing as a perfect stitch, even though our friends that love their featherweights, and by the way, the next machine that I'm going to present to you on this channel will be a very troubled featherweight that Susie and I picked up from the customer just yesterday. It's locked up. She said that her son tried to take apart the foot controller and it's shorting out and sparking now. So it should be quite an exciting live stream. No, I'll fix it before I'll fix it before I present it to you. Or maybe I don't know, maybe I'll do some of the servicing for you on camera as well for you featherweight owners so that it's a benefit from a service standpoint as well. But beautiful, beautiful lock stitching. There we go. Really quite nice. Top stitching, quite lovely as well. Really, really quite lovely top stitching. Yeah. So we're at 4 layers. Let's go up to 6 layers. And you might say, well, how am I going to do that? Well, I don't know. I guess I'll pull it apart. I could try to fold it over like that, but that's going to be a little bit awkward. Let me see if I can just pull it apart. We've got some beautiful stitching that we're going to deface here. See if we can pull it apart real quick, and we'll go up to 6 layers. And then we'll see if we're wanting to try 8 layers, right? See if we're wanting to try 8 layers after that. What is the highest number of layers of heavy grade denim that anyone has done on a class 15? Does anyone want to type that in the chat? Anyone that wants to type in, and this is your chance to brag a little bit. And the fact that hopefully you got a decent stitch, because you can go through a lot of layers of material and get a nasty looking stitch, right? We want to maintain stitch integrity and go as far as we can go while maintaining stitch integrity. We don't want to just say, oh, I did, 500 layers, but the stitch is so ugly that's like, ah. So how many layers have some of you gone through? We just did 4 very, very easily. Now we're going to go up to 6, and then maybe we'll try 8 after that, huh? All right, so we've got this already, I think, pretty much. There we go. So 2 layers, 4 layers, 6 layers. So this is what we're going to attempt to go through now. 6 layers of heavy grade denim. Kind of looks like that. And we'll see if we can maintain that stitch integrity. And actually, I'll point this towards the camera so you can see the thickness as we're going through it. Now, the good news about this 12K is it does have a modest hyperextension. We're not going to need that yet. But if we decide to try 8 layers, we may end up having to use that hyperextension. And that's where you take the presser foot lever in the back and you push it up just a little bit further like that. It's kind of what I'm doing right now. It doesn't hurt the machine to do that. It just gives you a little bit more clearance. So we're at 6 layers. Let's see if we can get this done successfully. And then we will see if we want to step it up one more to 8 layers. Oh, looks like Shirley's leaving. Bye, Shirley. Bye, Shirley. See you, kiddo. Happy Mother's Day. All right, let me get that take-up arm all the way up. All right, now let's try to do 6 layers. And we will not, I'll actually come out on the shot a little bit so you can see it. We will not give it a hand start. We'll just try to start it. Let's see, go back a little bit further. There we go. I'm not going to give it a hand start. We're just going to give it the motor a chance to shine here. And we'll see if we can get through these 6 layers. And then depending on what the audience says, we may try 8 layers. That may be too much, but we may try 8 layers nonetheless. So I can't imagine most people sewing denim are going to do more than 6 layers, though. Maybe on the edges. Maybe you'll get up to 8 there. Maybe that would be, maybe that would be a thing. Okay. All right, let's give this a try. 6 layers of heavy grade denim. And again, I'm going to keep my hands here so you can see it's strictly the power of this rewired Class 15 K from 1949. All right, here we go. Well, I don't know what you saw, but I think that was a little bit easy. I think that was a little bit easy for this machine, truthfully. Beautiful stitch quality. We're at 6 layers of denim. Dare we try 8, or should we move into some of these other materials? What do you think as an audience? We've got beautiful, beautiful stitching on 6 layers of denim. You can see that in the shot. Beautiful, beautiful stitching. Is there any reason to go to 8 layers? Or do we stop at 6? What do y'all think? Make your voice be heard. Make your voice be heard. Beautiful stitching. Wow. 6 layers, beautiful stitching. Do we do 8 or do we stop? Do we do 8 layers or do we stop? Lovely, lovely stitching. See the thickness of what we went through there. No one is voicing a position here. No one is saying, let's go for 8. So I'm just going to march forward. Some of you may be popping popcorn or making a sandwich or something else, and you don't even hear the sound of my voice. If I put on some crazy music, you'll all of a sudden run back to the computer and go, oh, yeah, let's do 8. But that's gorgeous stitching on 6 layers. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put on a little bit of music and see if anyone has a strong opinion about doing 8 layers. We've already hit 6. All right, hold on a second. I don't know if I want to put on, I'll put on a little bit more dance music. Get y'all going because you're moving so slow. Susie, go for it. And I got to pull this apart again. And this machine is a very good stitcher. So I'm going to see if I can pull this apart and we'll go for 8 layers. Yes, I have strong hands. That's the end of our dance music? Come on. All right. I put on some other music for us and we'll go into this next sew off here. Let's put on a little bit of ragtime. All right, 8 layers. So we've got 2 layers there. We've got, let me get these straight. 2 layers, 4 layers, 8 layers. Let's see if we can even fit this in there. I had to use that hyperextension just a little bit to fit that in there. All right, so we've got 8 layers of denim now. 8 layers of denim. I'm going to let this song play just a little bit more, get a quick drink of Diet Coke, and then we're going to give this a go. What did Teresa write? No fear. Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm going to stop that music. Yeah, no fear unless we're working with a replica Singer machine. You guys know what I'm talking about. That machine that the lady from down near Madison won. While I was still in Oconto, I did a giveaway when we hit a certain milestone. And I was giving away a replica Class 15, similar to this, a replica Class 15 that Singer had put out for their 170th anniversary. Some of you bought those machines. I know you did. And they were made in India. And I ended up pushing that machine too hard and ended up breaking the joining piece on the needle bar during the live stream. I had to do a repair on it. And then I came back to the camera with not with the customer, with the winner still there, and then finished the rest of the sew off. Some of you remember that. That was a moment of victory and also humility and also realization that replica machines that Singer is making today to celebrate different milestones is not made to the same quality as a machine like this, like Connie's machine. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Eight layers. 8 layers of heavy grade denim. I'm going to try to launch without using any kind of a hand start. We're just going to go with the power of the motor, the strength of the Schmetz needle. Of course, I better do one thing real quick. Take this to the highest position. Otherwise, we're not going to be launching anything, right? Our launch will be very, very bad unless we take this up. There we go. Now we got a chance. So 8 layers. I'm going to bump up our presser foot pressure a little bit higher. Another turn. Get nice and close to the camera. So if any parts come flying off, if any parts come flying off, you can go, hey, Scott, it went that way. It went that way, buddy. You should have stuck with 6 layers of denim. Should have stuck with 6 layers of denim. Now, what fun is that, right? We got to at least try 8. And I should tell you, as we're getting ready to go through 8 layers of denim, I do not have a denim needle in here. I've got a Schmetz Universal size 9014, just like this one right here. When you're getting up to 8 layers of denim, you really should be using a size 100 needle or maybe a 110. So we're really undersized as far as our needle right now. When you get up to 6 to 8 layers of denim, put in a denim needle that's a size 100 or larger, and you'll have a lot more success. But we're going to try this anyway. We're going to give it a go. Okay? All right, here we go. Keep your fingers and toes crossed. We want success. We want success now. All right, here we go. I heard a funny sound. I hope I didn't break anything. I don't think I did. Yeah, I could have used a little bit more upper tension. Our top stitch looks spot on. Our lock stitch looks like it might be, there's our top stitch right there. Let me angle the camera a little bit differently. 8 layers of heavy grade denim. There's the thickness. That's crazy, folks. That's absolute crazy. Beautiful, beautiful stitch quality. If you've never sewn 8 layers of heavy grade denim before, maybe this will inspire you to give it a try. And then if you break your machine, you can always send it to me. Ha-ha! Yeah! We'll pull it like this as well. Beautiful, beautiful stitching. And again, a size 90-14 needle, like Susie typed in the live chat. That's not a big needle when you're getting up to 8 layers of denim. We really should be at a size 100 or even a 110. And we're kind of just going with the faith of what I did for this machine with Workshop Magic, right? So beautiful, beautiful top stitch. I'll show it to you one more time. Beautiful, beautiful top stitch. Absolutely spectacular. Look at the thickness as I turn it around so we can look at that lock stitch. There's our lock stitch. We get that thread out of the way a little bit. I didn't even cut the threads off. We'll look at that lock stitch now. Absolutely spectacular. Again, we would benefit from a size 100 denim needle, but we're not using one. We're just going to trust the machine and trust what I did for this machine. And it really is proving to be trust well put, because we're getting an absolutely spectacular stitch on the lock stitch. You can see it right there. And also on the top stitch as well. Now I'm going to ask you a question as we get ready to move forward with the next stitch off. If I pull this bobbin case out right now, just to make sure, because with these class 15 bobbins, I've talked about this in other live streams, with these class 15 bobbins, because they hold so much thread, they can sometimes work their way out of that groove on the bobbin case, right? So we're going to double check that. But before I show that to you, which way do you think the thread is orientated on this bobbin? If you're holding your bobbin in your left hand, and excuse me, if you're holding your bobbin case in your left hand and your bobbin in your right, and you put that bobbin inside of the bobbin case, bobbin, you put that bobbin inside of the bobbin case, is the thread coming over the top or is it coming under the bottom? Over the top, under the bottom. What do you think? Type it in the live chat. We'll pull this bobbin case out real quick and we'll take a look and then I'll show you. Okay. And it's much easier to take out than it is to put in. So we're looking at this bobbin case. It's already threaded up with a bobbin virtually identical to this one. So if we're holding this bobbin case like this, and we're going to put this bobbin in it like that, do we have the thread over the top like it is right there? Losing it. Do we have the thread coming over the top like this? Or like most of the class 15s, do we have it coming underneath the bottom like this when we slide it into that bobbin case? Anyone know? Is anyone actually awake out there? Come on, you guys. Blah, 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 blah. Come on. How is that thread orientated? Well, you're guessing that. I'll put on just a little bit more rag time. All right. So those of you that have fallen asleep, haha, Susie just typed an answer in right now. She said under. Well, most of the class 15 machines, you will generally orientate the thread so that it's under, which means that that bobbin, when it's turning in the machine, is turning counterclockwise, right? But on this 15K from 1949, you want to make sure that the thread is coming over the top. So in other words, when you put the bobbin case in your left hand, You put the bobbin in your right. When you put that bobbin into this, you want to have that thread coming over the top, which means as this is sewing, that bobbin is going to be turning clockwise. Okay. So make sure you get that right. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of problems in the sewing process. Okay. Let me see if I can get this back in. It's easier to take it out than it is to get it in when you got bigger hands. I'll give it my best shot here. There we go. You heard that snap in. And then when you're pulling that thread up, if you're brand new to sewing, when you're pulling that thread up, you grab your rear thread, come back a little bit like this. You grab that rear thread like this, and then you rotate your balance wheel towards you slowly. You'll see that needle sweep down, and the hook will grab that thread. And then you just sweep that little loop forward like that. Close your door, and then we can resume sewing again, okay? We can resume sewing again. So we went through 8 layers of heavy grade denim. I don't think that a lot of channels will show that level of sewing. We ended up delivering some beautiful results with stitch quality. I'll just show it to you one last time. Beautiful, beautiful stitch quality, both on the top and on the bottom. And that's what 8 layers of heavy grade denim looks like right there, folks. Again, this is not a 1591. We talk a lot about the 1591s on this channel all the time. And we always point to the fact that the 1591s that have that potted motor on the back have direct drive. And generally the understanding is with direct drive, because there's no belt involved, you're able to sew through much, much thicker materials with a great deal of ease. Well, we just did that with 8 layers of denim with a 15K that's belt driven. You see it right back there, the motor and the belt. And we had no issues whatsoever, no hand start, no issues getting through it. So it gives you an idea of how well this Centennial 15K is running now. Show you the front of the machine as well. I don't think I've done that very much. And again, yes, this is a Centennial machine from 1949. You don't see that very often. It's pretty unusual. All right, so what I've got left as far as sew-offs, and because I'm not getting a lot of interaction from the audience, all of you are kind of getting back into the groove of a live stream, and you're wanting to more listen and learn, and that's fine. But you're not wanting to get involved and get engaged in the conversation as much. So I'm going to move forward now and just try to get through more of these sew-offs, and then we'll wrap this live stream up. I don't want to go too long. I know we started earlier on, we started with several hundred people, and Saturdays are always busy, so a lot of them had to step away. We're down to the chosen 12 now, at least right now. So I think what we'll do is we'll do some of this vinyl first. We'll do some of this vinyl's 2 layers of that. And then we'll move into some of these other sew-offs after that. All right, let's try doing this vinyl. I'll get my take-up arm all the way up. There we go. And we'll try doing some of this marine vinyl now. Marine vinyl is incredibly popular in sewing circles right now for a number of different applications. If any of you know some of those applications and you want to share that, by all means, type it into the live chat. But marine vinyl is being used in making dog collars and a variety of other things right now. It's very popular. So I figure we'll give that a try as well. 2 layers of that, and we'll see how this 15K from 1949 that belongs to Connie from Eagan, Minnesota. We'll see how it does on this vinyl, this marine vinyl. All right, let's give this a try. Here we go. I was looking in the other direction. I started over sewing here. Watch out. Yeah, nice job. Really quite nice. Marine vinyl is like most vinyls is a tricky material to sew, especially as you have a needle that's starting to get a little bit more tired. But we had a great result here. I'll show it to you in just a few seconds. You can take a look at that top stitching, that lock stitching. And certainly we could go higher than 2 layers with this marine vinyl, but I think 2 layers is enough to demonstrate uh, just how marvelous Connie's machine is sewing right now. There we go. Kind of come across like this. You can look at that stitching. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. And you can see that that vinyl, that marine vinyl has kind of a webbing on the back of it as well. That's going to increase that piercing threshold even higher. It's going to make it more difficult for any sewing machine to get through this stuff. And people love the marine vinyl because of its durability, right? Incredibly durable stuff. And durability right away translates to it's hard to get through this stuff. But Connie's machine just made it look like next, next. Beautiful stitching. Let's turn over and look at that lock stitching as well. Start over here, kind of go across. Beautiful lock stitching as well. Very, very nice. We'll look at it like this. Absolutely gorgeous lock stitching. So marine vinyl is no challenge at all for Connie's machine. Let me give you a tip, another tip. I've given you several tips in this live stream. If you want to be able to sew marine vinyl like this, whether you're making dog collars or whatever you're making, who knows? Make sure that you have a Schmetz needle in your machine, number one, and make sure that that you've got adequate presser foot pressure. Adequate presser foot pressure can save you when it comes to sewing vinyl, just like leather. So you can get stitching like this. Absolutely gorgeous. I agree with Susie. Absolutely stunning with the white thread against the blue marine vinyl. So if you haven't tried marine vinyl, maybe this will inspire you to give that a go, right? Let's move to the, let's see, what do I have here? I got all kinds of stuff. I've got some of this fake fleece material. I've got some of this satin outdoor material. It's kind of a canvas material, another type of canvas material. I've got some of this Italian leather, some of this genuine cowhide leather, some of this 100% polyester, this translucent stuff. This is a lot more fun to use when you're doing zigzagging because you can see it a lot easier on this stuff when you zigzag. And I've already done denim. I don't think I need to do more denim. I'll throw that to the side. So if anyone has any strong preference out of the materials that I just showed you, we've got some of this 100% polyester translucent stuff. We've got some of this Italian leather, genuine cowhide, this fake fleece material that also is 100% polyester, just like this stuff. It's kind of hard to believe, but it's true. Both of these materials are made from 100% polyester. And it's a matter of how they process it, isn't it? It's quite a science behind making some of these more specialty materials. So if you have a preference, whether it's one of these 100% polyesters, satin material, outdoor canvasy material, another type of canvas material as well here. Let your voice be heard, and I'll go ahead and put it underneath the presser foot, and then we'll move slowly towards wrapping up this first live stream. Probably in what, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks? I have no idea. All right, a little bit more rag time. Going to get a drink, and then we'll jump into this. All right, I'm going to stop that real quick. So now we're looking at 100% polyester, this ribbon type material, very popular for decorating, for seasonal things like Christmas and other festive occasions. They love using this stuff. And I don't know how much we'll be able to see with a straight stitch. It's fun to sew this stuff with a zigzag because you right away can see the beauty of that zigzag against this sparkly, fun material. Straight stitch is a little bit more of a challenge, but we'll give it our best shot to take a look at this as well. So let me see if I can get that closer to the camera. I don't know if I have any rag time left. I'll put a little bit more rag time while we're doing that. Let me put something behind this. It's really hard to see. I know that, but I think this background behind it helps a little bit. This is a tricky material to sew, 100% polyester. It's a very delicate polyester design, but Connie's machine really did quite an amazing job of maintaining the stitch quality and caliber. I wish it were a zigzag. You'd be able to see it straight away. This, you've got to scrutinize it a little bit more, but really quite a lovely job. Let's turn it over and look at the other side, that lock stitch. See if we can get a close look at that. So it's fun to sew stuff like this. Let me just stop that real quick. It's fun to sew stuff like this. Camera, if you're in the workshop, you could look at this and hold it in your hands like this and see just how lovely the stitches are. Quite nice job on these 3 layers of this 100% polyester. On camera, it's a lot harder to see it. I tried to get as close as I could so you could get a clear look of it, but the stitching really is quite lovely. So far, to recap what we've done so far in this live stream, we've done this 100% polyester ribbon material. We did a number of columns with this 100% cotton early on in the live stream. We did 4 layers, 6 layers, and then 8 layers of this heavy grade denim, and laid down absolutely drop dead gorgeous stitches, absolutely brag worthy. And then we sewed some of this marine vinyl, tricky stuff, it truly is, and laid down gorgeous stitching on these 2 layers of marine vinyl as well. A lot of people would say, you know what, that's enough. You covered it. You proved how well Connie's machining, this 12K from 1949, is running now, and it's sewing just beautifully. It's not sparking. It's not going to be catching on fire anymore. But we'll do a couple more sew offs real quick, and then we'll wrap up this live stream. Okay? Then we'll wrap up this live stream. All right, let's get this going. Oh, hello to Michelle. I see Michelle popped into the live stream as well. And you know what? I'm really remiss because I'm onto the habit of doing these live streams now. We haven't done them in so long. I should real quick go through the list and just say hello to everybody, so I don't miss saying hello to everybody. I think I said hello to most everybody, but maybe I missed a few. Let's see here. Let's see if I missed anybody. Trying to get this thing to go up. There we go. All right, I'm going to quickly go through and just say hello to folks. Susie was obviously first in the classroom today. She beat all of you. She beat all of you in the classroom today. So if you don't know about this little game we have going on, it's a fun little game. We always see who can get in the classroom first. It's usually Susie. I know Alex has gotten in first, and a couple other folks have gotten in first as well. So if you want to give that a go at the next live stream, which may be on Tuesday, if I can get this featherweight ready, then watch out for a Tuesday live stream. Same time, 9:30 a.m. Central Time, which is a little bit early for the folks on the West Coast, but Alex and others on the West Coast are incredibly devoted about popping in even that early in the morning, and I'm grateful for their loyalty. So I have to say good afternoon, almost good afternoon here in the Midwest. I can still say good morning for another 15 minutes. So I'm going to say good morning to Susie, say good morning to Emma. Great to have Emma here from the great state of Florida. Hello to and good morning to Teresa from Thorpe, Wisconsin. Also, good morning to Tim from Thorpe, Wisconsin as well. And I hope hope Tim and Teresa are doing well. I know that Teresa had a little bit of a health hiccup recently, and we should always be taking care of the family, thinking about the family, praying for the family. So if you've had some health issues and you're comfortable sharing that with us so that we can remember you in thought and prayer, please do that. So I'm just mentioning Teresa because I know that she had shared something with Susie and I several weeks ago, and I just hope everything's going great right now. Also, good morning to Alex out in the beautiful state of California. Good morning also to, I'm still scrolling. Good morning to Sheila Kilgore. And I don't remember where Sheila's from. I believe she's out east somewhere, but I don't remember for sure. Also, good morning to Truth Matters. Great to have Truth Matters here. Let's see who else we have. I think I already said good morning to Shirley, but good morning to Shirley again. Great to have Shirley here. Also, good morning again to Keith. Great to have Keith with us today. Who else do we have? Good morning to Sarah Stitches. Great to have Sarah here. Always, Sarah's a regular. Great to have Sarah here. Good morning as well to Jenny. And I know that Jenny shared that she just had eye surgery. So if you wouldn't mind, keep Jenny and others that have had surgeries, that they'll stay healthy and no infection and that they'll heal fast, right? That's the big deal when you have surgery of any type, isn't it? Let's see. Also, good morning to, I think that's it. I think I scrolled through all the people that have joined the live chat. Oh, good morning also to Wayne, or Wayno, excuse me, Wayno, Wayno. Good morning to Wayno. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Anyone else that I missed? Did I miss anyone else? Oh, and also good morning to Michelle. Michelle, I know, is from Minnesota, and it's great to have Michelle here as well, part of our leadership team. So I went through the list. I don't think I missed anyone. I think I got everybody, and it's an honor and a privilege to have all of you here. Earlier in the live stream, we had a ton of folks here. I didn't look at it carefully, but I think we had over 200 folks, close to 250. Saturdays are so busy, aren't they? Saturdays are tough. And I know it's always a challenge to devote this time to spending time with the family, but I'm grateful for it. Very grateful for that. Very grateful for that. Our family is so precious, isn't it? We've got such a great group of folks from around the country and around the world that are part of the Cow Country family. All right. Let's see here. Oh, I want to do one other thing real quick. And I didn't see her in the, I did not see her in the live chat. But most of you know the name Joelle. Joelle is from Bakersfield, California. I bet you Alex and others from California know right away where Bakersfield, California is. I don't know where it is exactly, but that's where Joelle and her mom are from. And you might remember we worked on I worked on a machine for Joelle and her entire family. And I believe it was a FOF 1222E. If someone wants to double check that, I believe I'm correct. If you search the channel for Joelle, that should pop up. I believe it was a FOF 1222E. It's a very complicated machine to repair and to service because there's so many things going on mechanically and even electronically inside of those machines. But I was able to get it right. And Joelle paid me the greatest compliment. She said, my mom had never watched your channel, didn't even know who you were. I know that's shocking. I know that's shocking. I mean, I'm pretty well known in the sewing repair space. But at any rate, Joelle's mom had never heard of me. She said, but after they got that machine back and they sat down to it as a family and they put it through the paces, she said, Scott, my mom, this is Joelle speaking. She said, my mom is one of your biggest fans now. So that's kind of cool, isn't it? It's really cool. All right. So I'm going to put on a little bit of music and we're going to open a package that's been sitting, waiting to be opened from Joelle and her mom. She sent it to the workshop weeks ago. And I'm finally going to open it up real quick before we jump into any more sew-offs. I got to get this done, right? Oh, yeah, that's right. Let me pause the music real quick. So this is a goodie box from Joelle and her mom. And again, they are located out in, just want to peel back this tape. Yeah, Bakersfield, California. If any of you California folks know that, the state, obviously. And what they had sent to me is when I did that machine, I had most of the give you an idea of how complex this machine is. And this machine is not really computerized, it's mechanical. These are some of the stitches that I can't even hold them all. These are some of the stitches that this 1222E that I fixed for Joelle and her mom, some of the stitches that machine can do. It's absolutely fascinating. More of the stitches. Can't even show them all to you. More of the stitches. Yeah, it's an amazing machine. If you don't know what a 1222E looks like, pretty much it right there. Yeah, quite an amazing technology. So Joelle knew that I was missing some of the stitches, so she and her mom printed these off for me very generously in color so that I could maybe reproduce them at a Kinko's and then offer them to people, that have the same machine and they don't even know that their machine can do all these stitches. You know what I mean? They have no clue. So thank you to Joelle and her mom for being so thoughtful and putting this together for me as a first step. Okay, what do we have in here? Rite Aid medicine. This looks like it. See if y'all can figure out what this is. What is this? Does anyone know what that is? What is that? You guys know what that is? Come on. Be the first to answer and you might win a special prize. So what is this thing? I can hold it like that. Maybe it'll be better. Yeah. Nobody, huh? You guys must be making pizzas at home or something, right? You're making pizzas at home and you're too busy to answer. All right, I'm going to put this back in the container. Thank you to Joelle and her mom for sending this as well. What else do we have? We've got some sort of material here. Maybe I should read the card first so that I will have a clue. And it says, thank you, hope, joy, peace, love. Thank you. And then it says, Joelle and I really appreciate you rebuilding our FOF. This is a token of our appreciation. Sandra, Joelle made the bag. So this is a bag in here we're going to take a look at. There's the card. And there's the inside of the card. What is this? Partners in Education. It's kind of a cool, sounds like a cool organization, huh? I assume that Joelle and her mom must support this organization. So this bag Joelle made, presumably on the 1222E that I rebuilt and restored for her and her mother, Sandra. So let's take a look at this bag real quick. Oh, wow. Really cool. Look at this. Oh my gosh. I can't even push the camera far enough to capture this. Beautiful bag. Lovely lining in it as well. Very, very nice. Wow, Joelle, beautiful bag. I'll figure out something to do with it. Otherwise, Susie will probably figure out something to do with it. Plus, it's got the most beautiful aroma on it, almost like it had potpourri or something with it or something like that. But she did quite a lovely job on this, didn't she? Quite a lovely job on this bag. Yes, it is a button holder. A buttonhole foot. Yes. Truth Matters nailed it. Yeah, it is. And Susie nailed it as well. It is my nightmare. I have bad dreams about buttonholes all the time. On my here's a promise I'll make. On the final live stream that I do before the channel goes silent sometime in the future, I will have a machine on the workbench where I can do several buttonholes, several styles of buttonholes. I'll do that for y'all. I will. It's a lovely bag, isn't it? Hey, Susie, do you want to come downstairs real quick and I'll get a shot of you. Maybe you can hold this bag up for me and we can get a better view of it just briefly. If you're willing to do that, that'd be awesome. And then it looks like there's a t-shirt in here as well that you can hold up for me. I can show off the t-shirt as well that Joelle and her mom sent in appreciation for the work I did on their 1222E FOF machine. So I think Susie, can you come down? Can you come down to the workshop real quick? And I'll have Susie hold this up, and that way you can get it. I'm trying to do it, but I'm not doing a very good job, and I want to do justice to such a thoughtful gift that came all the way from Bakersfield, California. Hey, Susie, come on in. Try to adjust the camera a little bit. And I will give you the seat, if I may. Give you the seat right there. And I'll give you Joelle made this on the machine that I repaired.
Awesome.
It's really a cool bag. I'll hold it like that and I'll get the camera. And y'all know Susie. This is Susie. Oh, that's even better. Let me take a step back.
I got dibs on the bag.
Isn't that a lovely bag?
That's wonderful.
You can put a lot of stuff in this bag, and it's got nice, solid stitching on the straps as well.
It's amazing.
Look at how much you can fit in there. Give you an idea. That's a huge bag. Beautiful bag. Inside of there, you can see it as well. Lovely bag. Great job, Joelle and Sandra, on producing that. Now I'll grab this t-shirt, and Susie can hopefully hold the t-shirt up as well. It looks like it's from Bakersfield, California. So I will put this on. I will put this on in a future live stream. 1996, Buck Owens, Crystal Palace. Oh, isn't that where the cows? That's like cows, right? The Crystal Palace, I think, has cows associated with it or something. Bakersfield, California. You can just barely see Susie over the top of it. Yeah, what a cool shirt. And red is one of my favorite colors. So anyone that wants to do some quick research and type in the live chat, what is the Crystal Palace? Who the heck is Buck Owens? I know who he is. But Buck Owens and Crystal Palace in Bakersfield, California. If you do that, I'll send you something special. I'm not going to send you the shirt, but I'll send you something else. So thank you, Susie. It's awesome. All right. We did all that. And I didn't even disconnect this. All right. So that was a lot more effective with Susie doing that than with me trying to hold it out and get it right on the camera. So, all right, real quick, I'm going to put on a little bit more. A little bit of Bakersfield, California music. All right, let me put a pause on the music. Yeah, it is. It is such a thoughtful, sweet thing for Joelle and her mom to do, and you know, it humbles me. It humbles me. I'll tell you why. Because I work on so many machines, and amid the transition from the workshop in Oconto to Minnesota, and eventually from Minnesota to Kentucky, it's been a blur. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's been a blur trying to keep up with which end is up. And so I go through the machines all with very, very individual care. But I'm moving from one machine to another so quickly. And now with getting a lot of machines in the Twin Cities as well, since folks have discovered that I'm here temporarily, it's been, Susie can attest to the fact, it's been a whirlwind of people from all over Minnesota wanting to bring their machines to the Minneapolis, St. Paul area to get workshop magic. Interestingly, I'll share a quick story with you, and I don't know if this gentleman will see it or not, but I got this interesting text message a while back, just a couple days ago, actually. I got this interesting text message from a gentleman by the name of Brian. Brian, who has a well-established tailoring business in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area. And Brian sent me a text message with a screenshot of the Google thing showing the address of the workshop in Minnesota. And as most of you know, the address that I have posted for the workshop is the P.O. box, because I still have people shipping machines here to be serviced. So Brian, bless his heart, he sent a picture of the screenshot of the Google thing showing this address in Minneapolis, 5139 South 34th Avenue, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 55417. Now you might say, okay, what's the big deal? What's the significance of that? Well, the significance is that as fate would have it, the P.O. box USPS location is right next door to his tailoring business. So Brian shared with me that he's had people walking into his tailoring shop carrying their sewing machines that need to be repaired, and he he doesn't know what to do. He's like beside himself, because he can work on some of the machines that he has in his tailoring shop to some degree, but all the other machines, it's like, I don't do that. I tailor clothes. I adjust garments for people. And I've got people walking into my tailoring shop. And when I try to explain to them, let me come into the shot here. when I try to explain to them that I'm not cow country and that I can't fix your sewing machine, that's somebody else, they look at me with a strong air of skepticism, like I'm punking them, like I'm messing with them, like I'm trying to shuffle them off so I can do other things. And he said there was one lady that came in, and Susie can tell you that this is true. He told us there was one lady that came in carrying her sewing machine, no idea what kind it was. And she got so emotional and so upset that the wizard wasn't there, that Scott wasn't there, that this Brian guy is there, and he can't help me. Brian told us, the tailoring guy, she broke down into tears, was crying, was weeping in his tailoring shop. I don't know if anyone else was coming in or going, but it probably wasn't. Yeah. Whoa. So she got very emotional, started crying. And he said he did his best to try to help her figure something out about her machine. I don't know if it was right, wrong, or indifferent. I have no idea, but she was, I mean, am I right, Susie? I mean, that's what Brian said. And I'm not laughing because it's funny, but it's a little funny, a little bit, you know what I mean? You know, I didn't mean to create any confusion. That was not the point. The point was, with people knowing that I was in the Twin Cities and they still had machines they wanted to ship, that they would have a place to ship them. But apparently it's created a lot of drama in the Minneapolis Twin Cities area with, where is the wizard? Where is he? Did he open a tailoring shop? No, he didn't. And Brian will be the first to say, no, I'm not the wizard. But Brian wrote a very nice review. If you go to the reviews under Google for Cow Country, Brian wrote a very nice review, but it was really a clarifying review more than anything, saying, I'm not the guy. You need to contact him some other way. Don't keep coming to my shop. Don't come to my shop, because apparently some of the people that came to Brian's tailoring shop, which is literally right next door to the post office that I'm using for address in Minnesota right now, they wanted to tell him they're, kind of like when I visit with customers, I'll talk with folks for an hour sometimes about their machine, but Brian doesn't have time or patience to do that. So he was like, yeah, I mean, come and meet me, bring me some business cards so that I can start pointing them, at least texting you or emailing you instead of coming into my shop. So Brian, if you see this, all fun aside, again, I'm sorry for creating any confusion. Different addresses, different buildings, but they are right next to each other. So I get it. And I'm doing my best to work with you so that we can stop having this influx of people coming into your tailoring shop, trying to get their sewing machines repaired when that's not your deal. That's not your gig. But who knows? Like Susie said, if some of their sewing machines are broken and I can't get to them right away, maybe they'll have you mend something. So it could be business. You never know, right? All right. Enough about Brian, the tailor guy in Minnesota. But I had to share that story with you. Had to do it. Yeah, had to do it. Crazy, right? Crazy stuff. I created this big drama. Maybe they're going to do like I don't know, some sort of a mini series about this or something. But Brian is probing me. This kind of, I'll share one last little thing. Okay. Just give me this little latitude. So he reaches out. The first thing he sends me is a shot of the Google thing for Cow Country Vintage Sewing. And then he goes on, he's doing a little bit of investigative research. He goes on and says, hello, your address for sewing repair on Google is a post office in South Minneapolis, ? Just looking to clarify this, please. Thank you, Brian. And then he sends me another screenshot. Street view. That's a street view. And then I write back to Brian, and I don't mean to be laughing, but it is kind of humorous a little bit. And then right back to Brian. Hi, Brian. You are correct. The PO box is for public domain because my workshop is co-located with our residents, and also use the PO box for customers to ship their machines both in the US and internationally. If you know South Minneapolis, I typically meet customers at Oxendale's, which is a grocery store on 34th Avenue South. Anyway, it goes on and on and on. But interesting, isn't it? I didn't realize that I was creating this drama. And again, I am apologetic to Brian for, these folks come in and they expect to engage Brian like they engage me and wanting to blah, 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 about their machines and about the history of their machines and the provenance of their machines and the love for their machine. And they want to go on and on and on. And poor Brian has this stack of tailoring adjustments that he needs to do. And he doesn't want to be utterly impolite. So he kind of sticks it out as long as he can. And then he finally goes, I'm not the wizard. I am not the wizard. I can't help you. But now he's got business cards. So now he can give a business card to them and say, contact the wizard at email or call him. He's not here. I don't have him locked in the back room. I don't have him under one of these stacks of these garments. He's somewhere else at an undisclosed location. And you can meet him at Oxendale's. Yeah. All right. Enough of that. Oh my gosh. So much fun. So much fun in Minneapolis. Yeah. All right. All right. We haven't done any leather. Let's try to do a little bit of leather. I've got some of this Italian leather. I'll do a single layer of this. And again, thank you to Joelle and Sandra, her mom, for the incredibly thoughtful gifts and for the cool t-shirt and for the awesome bag that Susie says, I'm claiming it. It's mine. So the bag is gone. It's off. Yeah, it's Susie's bag now. All right. So now I'm going to do this Italian leather and we'll see if we can wrap up this live stream, which is now at 2 hours and 52 minutes. Good gravy. I hope all of you went to the bathroom or something. All right. So let's try this Italian leather and see how this incredible machine from Eagan, Minnesota, that belongs to Connie does with this Italian leather. We might even try 2 layers. All right. Well, we might even try 2 layers. Let's give it a go. All right. And again, I'm not going to give it a hand start. We're just going to jump into it. All right, here we go. And I'm taking it real slow. If I wanted to spin this puppy up, trust me, I could do it. It's got a lot of get up and go. All right, so there's our Italian leather. I'll see if I can show it to you like this. Some absolutely drop dead gorgeous stitching on this Italian leather. Beautiful, 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 beautiful stitching by the wizard. Yeah, there it is. All right, so beautiful stitching, beautiful lock stitching as well. Absolutely drop dead gorgeous lock stitching on this single layer of Italian type leather. Isn't that gorgeous? Don't you love the white against the black? White against the black is just absolutely spectacular. All right, let's take it up to 2 layers and see what happens. Don't you love that voice of confidence? Let's see what happens. You never know, right? We'll give it a go. All right. Yeah, hopefully I don't get a text from Brian saying, why did you do that? Well, because I wanted people to understand that I was causing problems and I didn't realize it. All right. Put on a little bit more music while we're getting ready to do a second layer of this. Whoa, calm down, buddy. Do a second layer of this Italian leather to try and make it a little bit more challenging for this 1949. Yes, it's a 1949 Centennial Singer 15K. Very unusual to have a machine from 1949 when the Centennial year was 1951, right? Kind of weird. All right, let's give this a go. 2 layers of this Italian leather. Now let's see if we can get this sewn off as easily as the first one. All right, Italian leather, 2 layers. Here we go. All right, pause on the music. Pause on the music. Here we go. Oh, give you an idea. That needle hit it and it stopped. Did you see that? I'm going to give it a little bit of a hand start to help it out here. Wow, we hit that leather and it was like, yeah, brakes on, brakes on. All right, so this is 2 layers now. You see the one that still has the threads? That's our second sew off going through 2 layers. Equally gorgeous top stitching. Hopefully you can see that. Equally gorgeous top stitching. Lock stitching on the back, that single row going through those 2 layers. Absolutely drop dead gorgeous stitching. The spacing, the formation, the integrity of the stitch. That's our lock stitching right there through 2 layers of Italian leather. Absolutely spectacular. Spectacular. Yeah, baby. Beautiful stitching. So our lock stitching, our top stitching, 2 layers of Italian leather, and now we will move on to our next sew off. All right. So to recap real quick, if you just joined us, so far, we've done this Italian leather, a single layer and 2 layers. Absolutely drop dead gorgeous. We've done 100% cotton, 2 layers of cotton with a stiffener, did all kinds of stitching on there with beautiful results. 100% polyester, this ribbon stuff. We went around and stitched that as well with some beautiful results. 3 layers of that. 8 layers of denim. We actually did, I think, 4. We did 4 layers, we did 6 layers, and then ultimately we did these 8 layers of denim as well. 8 layers of denim. So, I mean, and then we went to this marine vinyl. Beautiful results with the marine vinyl as well. You can rewind and watch that later if you'd like. But this is our sew-off sandwich, as I call it, our sewing Olympics so far. You know, a combination of cotton, polyester, denim, marine vinyl, a partridge in a pear tree. Oh, and also Italian leather on top of that. So already we've gone through a lot of material with this Smets 9014 universal needle. We're going to do just a little bit more and see if we can wrap up this live stream. Okay. Let's do some of this fake fleece material. This is fun to sew. The fake fleece, we've got 2 layers of it. Let's go ahead and do something we haven't done before. We'll kind of fold it over and see if we can get 4 layers of this stuff sewn. It's real cushy. Look at that stuff. It's real thick. The way they manufacture it as polyester material. See if we can get through these 4 layers. And then we will have sewn the ribbon polyester and also this stuff as well. You use that hyperextension just a little bit. Get us in the ballpark. Oh, this is a fun song. I got to turn this up, y'all. I got to turn this up. Oh, yeah. This is polyester sewing song music if I've ever heard it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Most of you know this song. You probably know the lyrics. You're probably singing it right now. Silvery Moon, right? Silvery Moon, I think. Something like that. All right, I got to pull this one back. Let me pause this real quick. Hold on. All right, I'm going to pause it real quick. So this is 100% polyester. It's made to look like fleece material. You can see the depth of that channel of stitching. We got to kind of pull it back so you can see it. And we'll check out these top stitching first, which is this. I'll kind of pull it across as best as I can. Let me move the camera up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Hold on a second. Aha! There you are. Oh, that's awkward. Awkward! There we go. Let me try doing it like this. Maybe it'll be easier. Maybe not. Hold on. Jiminy crickets. All right, let me try it like this. I tried it like this before. Scott, come on, buddy. Maybe if I push it down, I'll push it down. That'll do it. That'll win it. I sewed way too close to the edge. It's really, really awkward. All right, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. Hold on. There we go. Now we can see the stitching a little bit, sort of, kind of. There we got it. Hey, all right, all right, all right. I'm going to keep doing this now. All the way across, all the way across. There it is. I really need music to do this. The Silvery Moon music. All right. Well, I think I did a fairly decent job of pulling the stitches back, sort of. Where is it? There it is. Oh, this is payback for giving Brian such a difficult journey with customers coming to his tailoring shop. I don't believe in karma, but this is what it feels like. It's probably hitting me right now. All right. They're beautiful stitches. All right. Come to the workshop. I'll show them to you. It's right next to the post office. I'm kidding. The workshop is not next to the post office. That's Brian's tailoring shop. Stop going there unless you want to just drop off gifts. Maybe a Kringle or some pastries or something fun. Something fun for Brian. All right. Whoa, whoa, upside down, buddy. All right, I got it. I got it. Now we're going to have to do the same thing on the back side with the lock stitch. All right, here's the lock stitch. I've been working with my hands a lot. Look at those fingers. They're horrible. I'm going to have somebody showing up to do a pedicure or manicure or whatever that thing is called. There we go. That one there. Yes. Aha. So beautiful lock stitching. See, right now it's hidden. It's hidden lock stitching, but you saw it. Up there it is. There it is. Yes. And top stitching. There it is. Wait for it. Yes. 4 layers of fake fleece material. It's 100% polyester. So I'm going to throw this in our stack of stuff that we sewed, which looks kind of like that. All right. So all I have left is I've got some genuine cowhide. I've got some satin. I've got some outdoor material that's made like a canvas material. And then I've got another canvasy material as well. So if anyone in the live stream right now wants to voice their opinion about which one I do, then go ahead and do that. Otherwise, I'm going to play more Silvery Moon right now. All right. I think I'll do the outdoor material. 2 layers. This is really heavy stuff. I think I'll do 4 layers of it. All right. That's something Silvery Moon. I that was before my time, but I know the song. I really do. All right, and we're gonna go down to the end. This is really tough stuff to get through, especially with a tiring needle. Very, very, you can hear that machine working. You can hear Connie's machine chugging along here. Get a little bit closer for you. You see what we've done so far. And canvas material is, I mean, it's hard to do 1 or 2 layers of this stuff. We got 4 layers right now. It's probably a little bit more than I should be doing on a tired needle, but it is a Schmetz needle after all. All right, let me see if I can cut this and we'll take a look at this. Oh yeah, very nice. Okay, so I'll just show this to you briefly. This is our outside canvasy outdoor type material. And with this material, you really need a bigger needle than I'm using on this, especially with 4 layers. What you're going to get when you use a 90-14 needle is you're going to get a little bit of a waver on the stitch. The machine is stitching spot on perfect, but because it's not a big enough hole and you've got multiple layers of this, it gives a little bit of a waver to the stitch. And that's just a product that the needle isn't big enough. So you'll see that, and that's to be expected. Down at the bottom, when we made that turn, it did a better job than on the straightaway. So 4 layers of that. We're going to turn it over and look at the lock stitching. Lock stitching, we didn't have enough tension. You can see that right away on the lock stitching. We needed more of that upper tension. We had turned it back earlier on in the live stream. We never adjusted it back. And so, oh, Satin, please. Truth Matters wants to see Satin. So we don't have enough upper tension right now. The stitch is a little bit weak, but going through this much of this material, all in all, it did a pretty good job. We really need a size 100, a size 110 needle, and probably also a heavier thread than this Coates and Clark to maintain that uniform straight line on the stitching. But it's great to try it. At least we can see the results we get with a smaller needle and more of a standard type common utility type thread. And I wish you could feel this stuff. It feels like burlap. It's like a burlap material used for outdoor applications. 4 layers of it. And Connie's machine did really well with it under the setup circumstances. So now to honor the request of Truth Matters, I'm going to go ahead and try some of this satin material. And I'm just going to trim it a little bit on the edge. And what are we going to have to adjust? What are we going to have to adjust before we attempt to sew this satin? What adjustment is critical so that we're able to sew this with some degree of success? You guys should know this right off the bat. It's above the needle area on near the faceplate. What do you think? What is it? What am I talking about? What do we need to make an adjustment of? Not the tension, something else. If you're saying, but you didn't type it in the live chat, we've got to adjust the presser foot pressure. Yes, truth matters. Right as I was saying it, they actually had typed it already. Yeah, Susie's right as well. Truth matters. And Susie, we got to adjust the presser foot pressure. Right now, we've got it cranked up for heavier sew-offs. We've got to back it down quite a bit, don't we? You see where we're at right now. We're quite a ways down, aren't we? We got to back it way off. Let's see if that's going to do it. I can tell if I do a lift on it. Still a little bit heavy. I'm turning it counterclockwise. So we have less presser foot pressure. I think I'll stop right there. But we got to do that when we do silks and satins and other more delicate crepe type materials. We've got to back it way off. We got to back it way off. So we're going to try this again. We'll do a stitch line of longer stitches. We'll do a stitch line of shorter stitches. And then we'll look at the back of the material when we turn it over to see if we've got that puckering or whether or not we backed off that presser foot pressure enough to get a smooth feed without puckering the material. Okay, let's give this a go. And we're nearing the finish line on our sew-offs. Press that down a little bit. All right, here we go. Took it really, really slow. I wanted to give that material a chance to feed. I hope we didn't pucker too badly. It looks like we did pretty well. I'm going to do one more stitch line next to it, and then we'll look at both stitch lines at the same time. All right, let's get that back in one more time. And now I'm going to adjust our stitch length over here to probably around 10 stitches per inch, right about there. I think is pretty good. All right, let's give this a second run and see how we do. And you'll notice because this machine has very robust feed dogs and a great presser foot system, it's almost like, what is this? The machine is almost looking at this satin as kind of like, what is this? But if we make the proper adjustments, even though this machine loves heavy duty, it can still accommodate a light sew-off like this. We just have to make the appropriate adjustments, right? All right, here we go again. For a machine that has that oscillating hook, it really runs, as I'm sitting right in front of it, it really does run quite quiet. There's always that argument that rotary hook systems are so much quieter than oscillating hooks, but I think it comes down to the servicing and the preparation of the machine, don't you? If a machine has a good dose of workshop magic, it's going to run a lot quieter than another machine out there. Let's take a look at this satin. Let's take a look at this satin. I'm going to try to get nice and close so that you can see these stitches really are quite lovely. Oh, what do we have here? This is actually really, really helpful. We look at these stitches real close. What do you see right away? That lower row where we did a shorter stitch has much better definition and better stitch tension balance than the top row where we did it longer. Our upper tension has to be backed off quite a bit to define that top row of stitching. Right now, it doesn't have quite enough pull down, does it? Let's look at it like this as well. You can actually see the knot. You can actually see the knot presenting on that longer stitch, whereas when we shorten the stitch, it's a little bit better balanced, isn't it? A little bit better balanced, but still not enough bobbin case pull down for this super light sew off, is there? Not enough bobbin case pull down, which tells us right away when we flip this over and we look at that lock stitch on the bottom, it's probably going to be overly pronounced, isn't it? Part of what you're seeing though too with the white dots, you're actually seeing the needle hole, aren't you? You're actually seeing the needle hole. You can see my finger kind of behind it. See that? I move my finger behind it. It's actually light showing through, isn't it? So it's a little bit deceptive, but I still think we would need to make a tension adjustment for this light sew off to get it just right. Here's our lock stitching. Here again, we've got that. I'll put that box behind it like we did before. So we cut out that light factor, hopefully a little bit. Let me get this as straight as I can. All of a sudden, when we cut out that light factor shining through, because the needle punches a pretty big hole through this satin. Turn the camera a little bit more. Get over here. I'll get it right. Hold on. There we go. Finally. And we block out that light showing through those holes. You can see the stitch clarity just a little bit better, can't you? Excuse me. I think we'll do the same thing with that top stitch so we can see that thread tension just a little bit better. But this is such a thin sew off. There's not a lot of room for that knot, is there? Not using the type of thread that we are and the type of needle that we have. I'm going to flip it over again and we'll look at that top stitch one more time without that light shining through those holes. It might be easier for us to see it, right? And now all of a sudden, when we block that light out, that tension factor is diminished significantly, isn't it? It looked dramatically out of shape before, but now when we cut out that light factor shining through the passageway where the needle passed through, all of a sudden that stitch cleans up quite a bit, doesn't it? That's the trick of trying to do things on camera, isn't it? Trying to hold my breath as I'm moving it. So yeah, it's interesting. When we looked at it, first of all, we didn't have this box blocking out that light shining through the holes. And it looked like it was really, really out of tension balance. But now that we're looking at it like this, that tension looks much better, doesn't it? You can see that you're not distracted by those holes and the light shining through, and you can look at the stitch. Much, much easier to see it that way. One last time, we'll look at the lock stitching. Try to see if I have that straight on the box. Much, much better. It's amazing. You hold it up like this and that light is shining through. It makes it a lot harder to see the clarity of that stitch. See, you can see those holes again lighting up from behind as I run my finger behind them. Yeah, satin is not easy to sew, but I think Connie's machine did an excellent job in managing this very light sew off, or light material sew off, I should say. So what do I have left? Do I have anything left? I've got a little bit of canvas. We already did canvas once. We've got canvas, and then we have this genuine cowhide leather. Dare I try sewing genuine cowhide leather after beating this needle up so badly? Yeah, we'll give it a go. See how we do. Do this as a final sew off, genuine cowhide. There it is. And of course, I've got to put on the 1812 overture or something like that to wrap up this live stream. Let me get this all the way up. We also have to remember to adjust our presser foot pressure for leather because we just did satin, right? We did satin. Now we have to increase it again and turn it clockwise back down so it'll feed this leather properly, right? You can just do a little partial lift on here. You can feel how much pressure down you've got. That should be enough. Okay. So let me see if I can find a little bit of music to play. This will be our final sew off. I appreciate everybody's indulgence. This has run very, very long, very, very long, especially since we haven't had a live stream for probably almost 2 months. But we'll see if we can end it with a bang of sorts. Not literally a bang. A bang would be bad. Ha ha! We don't want any bangs when we're sewing. No, no bangs. Let me see if we can find something here. 1812 Overture Instrumental. Oh, hello to Candido and Rachel as well. Okay, and Truth Matters had written a question. I did not see it until now. What causes puckering? Puckering is a factor of feed. If you have a lighter material like this, satin, you have to reduce the pressure as it's feeding over the feed dogs. Otherwise, it causes it to bunch up like this. So when you're sewing something real light like this satin or silk, you want to back off that presser foot pressure as much as possible so that it feeds through more evenly. We had very minimal puckering because we backed off the presser foot pressure so much, but we could have probably gone even further than we did. So that's the answer to Truth Matters question is, presser foot pressure, you increase it if you've got multiple layers or a more dense material. You reduce it significantly if you're sewing more delicate materials like silk or satin. All right, let me see what I can get here. 4 minutes and 8 seconds or 4 minutes and 12 seconds. That's a tough thing. Oh, by the way, I should let Candido and Rachel know that Susie and I just finished, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but we just finished the last shipment of delicious pretzels and double Oreo thingy-wuddy-callies that you sent us from New York. Those of you that are in the live show that don't know, Candido and Rachel live out in New York, and they sent us some absolutely crazy, delicious chocolate double dip pretzels and cookies. And here's the beauty of people having different tastes, right? One person loves this, the other person doesn't love it. The other person loves this, the other person doesn't love that. Well, it so happens I love the chocolate dip pretzels. I love them. I'm not as fond of the cookies that Rachel and Candido put in the box, but guess who loves the cookies? So there's no competition. Susie loves the chocolate cookies. So she gets all the cookies. I get all the pretzels. It's the ultimate win-win. Yeah. All right. Let's do some. Let's see here. Let's do some 1812 Overture. We'll do our final sew off. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Truth Matters. Appreciate the question. Appreciate the involvement. Yes. I'll show you real quick and then we'll do this final sew off. This is our sew off, all done on this live stream today live. All done in this live stream live. Yeah, that's wow. Scott, you need more Diet Coke, buddy. More Diet Coke. So we did satin. We did fake fleece made on 100% polyester. We did Italian leather. We did marine vinyl. We did 8 layers of heavy grade denim. We did 3 layers of this ribbon see-through polyester, blah, blah, blah. We did this outdoor material, 4 layers of that. And then we ultimately did good old-fashioned cotton on the sew-off. Now we're going to do some genuine cowhide to the 1812 Overture, and that will wrap us up. So I want to say right now, thank you to everybody that took all your valuable time on a busy Saturday. Thank you to the leadership team, those that are still here right now and those that were here earlier and had to step away. The leaders do so much to take care of the family, and I'm so grateful. So we'll set these to the side. But again, we did a lot of sewing today on this machine that belongs to Connie from Eagan, California. Eagan, Minnesota. Eagan, Minnesota. No, we're still in Minnesota, Candido. This is not Kentucky yet. Not Kentucky yet. All right. See if I can get this going here. All right, here we go. Turn the volume way up here. Maybe this other one will be louder. Hold on a second. Now they're both pretty quiet. I'm going to move it right next to the microphone. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. All right, here we go. Move it back here because it's picking up my watch. Hold on a second. Woo! I haven't done one of those in a while. And I know that Teresa and Tim like the other version of, I forget what it's called. It's another similar version. But at any rate, 100% genuine cowhide. 100% genuine cowhide. And why do we do this? Because it's fun. Why do we do it? Because we can. And why do we do it? Because it also demonstrates just the beauty of how you can stitch something just because you can stitch it, and it turns out to be a form of art. I just need to get closer to the edges next time. So beautiful top stitching, beautiful lock stitching as well. You look at the stitch quality, it's absolutely spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Looks a little bit like a catacomb thingy whatty-collie, but really quite amazing. And this is an amazing 1949 class 15K. And again, born on March 4th, 1949. It's a Centennial machine, and yet it doesn't have a Centennial birthday. How many Centennial machines for Singer have you heard of born in 1949 when the Centennial year was 2 years later in 1951? But this is it. This is the machine right here. Born almost 2 years before the Centennial birthday, and it's a 15K. We don't see these too often, but you can see right away it's got that beautiful badge mark showing the Centennial birthday. Beautiful badge mark. So I want to thank everybody for joining to celebrate this great machine today that belongs to Connie out in Eagan, Minnesota. And I'm going to see if I can rotate it on a little bit more music so you can enjoy some music as you say your goodbyes, because you just never know how long it'll be again before we can come together to celebrate the next machine getting a dose of workshop magic here in Minnesota. There she is. And again, just to remind you, if you joined us a little bit late, this Centennial machine born in 1949, wow, weird. Yeah, I know. But we went through this genuine cowhide just now to the 1812 overture. Beautiful page 34 stitching. Here, I'll do this. We went through this very delicate satin. We went through this 100% polyester fleece material, 4 layers of that, Italian leather as well. We went through this marine vinyl, 2 layers of that, 8 layers of heavy grade denim. Are you kidding me? Yes, we did it. 100% polyester ribbon material. It's really cool looking. I mean, who knew? And then this outdoor material as well. And then started out this whole journey sewing this 100% cotton with this stiffener as well. So I am going to say Connie's machine deserves to graduate after demonstrating all of this live on this first time back as a family after almost 2 months, right? Almost 2 months. Whoa. Yeah. You know what? And Truth Matters is right. Isaac Singer was a prepper of his time. He liked to be ready for stuff. He liked to be ahead of things, but he didn't do it much. He didn't do it much when it came to the Centennial machines. Most of them were made in 1950 and then even in 1951. Very few, very, very few were made in 1949. So I'm going to tell Connie to hang on to this because it's a rare machine. It's a rare machine. God bless you guys. Thank you again to everybody for taking time to join us. Thank you also for, there's a weird buzzing sound. I think it's my speaker. Whoa. That's weird. At any rate, thank you to everybody for joining us today. And thanks to the leaders. God bless. Take care.